15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Dorm room with my own private bathroom in the dorm room.
Look at you.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah, but you had to be an RA in this particular set of dorms. I felt like I was King George or something.
Yeah, what are you, the quarterback of the football team? Jeez.
Yeah, I felt like royalty.
I mean, if that doesn't get you chicks, I don't know what will.
No, you'd be surprised.
Come on back to my room. I got a bathroom in suite.
Yeah, it's funny at a party. That line doesn't work. Hey, babe, is your stomach upset? I got a private bathroom. That is terrible.
Come on, blow up my bathroom. All good.
To be honest, I would not let anyone use this bathroom. So even if it was a potential hookup, I'd be like, nah, still
Sorry, you got it down the hall, chica.
I'm King George. I got my own bathroom. I'm not sharing.
Here are Maggie and Perloff.
What up, what up? Welcome to the show. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. Perloff and I and Stu back from Kansas City in one piece. Cholesterol levels through the charts, off the charts. But I digress. We have a lot to get to, including wrapping up the NFL draft, Perloff, the things we love, the things that we didn't like, the head-scratching moves. But we got to start with some NBA because Steph Curry was transcendent again last night. He has these performances that are just unreal. Last night, 50 points in a Game 7 on the road against the Kings. Boom.
Yeah, I feel bad. We all feel bad. We all want to see the Sacramento Kings win. No,
not the league.
Not to beat the Warriors,
yeah.
But I think we all appreciated the Sacramento Kings.
Absolutely.
First
and they had
playoff
a great
run.
season.
Great season. De'Aaron Fox emerged as a superstar. So many, Malik Monk, my guy. So many guys stepped up.
Yeah.
But to get destroyed by one guy, that's unbelievable because nobody on the Warriors helped.
No. I mean, Kevon
Looney on the boards was amazing.
With 21 rebounds, 10 offensive rebounds. It was basically him and Steph playing a two-man game out there with, like, appearances and cameos by other guys. Like, Clay had a moment, Poole had a moment, but all in all, Poole, Clay, and Wiggins were just really non-factors on the offensive side.
Can they continue to win if this is the way it's going to be? Can they beat the Lakers? I know we'll preview the series. I think they can.
You think they can beat the Lakers playing with Steph dropping 50? He'd have to drop 50 every night.
I think Steph goes into this zone where if he knows he's the whole offense, he just can't be stopped because his range is 45 feet. So you can't cover him all over the court up to half court. So I don't think everyone can play as bad as they did in Game 7, but I do think Steph can be a one-man gang and beat the Lakers.
Well, one thing I think it's a little worrisome maybe for the Warriors is that, first of all, it's a miracle they won on the road anyway, and this is barely a road game. I know that Sacramento, the crowd there was phenomenal. They were all over the Warriors, but it's not like you were going cross-country, and some real heavy travel.
But you can't buy into that road thing. They don't care about the regular season. Who cares if they lose on the road?
Clearly they didn't because they only won 11 games on the road. So the fact they won a Game 7 on the road was kind of crazy. It happened on the hockey yesterday, too, where both teams on the road won their Game 7s. But here's the thing. The Warriors looked pretty gassed. And the fact that it was 35-year-old Steph Curry, who's like a marvel of modern athleticism. Yeah, I said it, athleticism. I know you always disagree with me on that. He's an incredible athlete. And the fact that he was the one who had the most energy. Like, he was the one who, looked exhausted at times. But he was the guy who couldn't be stopped. Like, that might not bode well for them moving forward. I don't know, and who's going to guard Curry on the Lakers? Listen, we're burying the lead here. We get LeBron James versus Steph Curry legacies, not on the line because these guys are.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It's totally. It's on the line, and you know it. You've been in this business long enough to know that people are going to jump to conclusions after the series.
If somehow, which way does this go then?
If Steph Curry beats the Lakers and wins the title this year, what is now a trickle of people who think that Steph Curry is the number 2 player of all time will become a raging river, and people are going to start putting Steph Curry either right there with LeBron or ahead of him. Now, that's if he wins the title this year, because that will be the 5th for Steph.
Okay, so it can't just be about winning this series against LeBron.
No, that's not enough.
He has to go on and also win the title. And that's a small thing. And
here's why I think there's a possibility that it's not only this year, but moving forward. And it goes directly against something you just said. Steph has 0.0 athleticism, and it's not going away because it was never there. He's Tom Brady. He is Tom Brady of the NBA. Tom Brady was never fast, never had a big arm, so there was nothing to decline in his later years. Steph Curry cannot dunk the ball, is not fast, can't play defense. None of that's going to decline. He's just going to be out there doing old man trick shots under the basket and hitting 50-footers till he's 39 years old. So not only does he have a chance this year, but he could add titles, maybe 2 or 3 more, in which case that sheer number of titles will push him way above LeBron.
Well, first of all, he hasn't done that yet. They're still tied with 4 apiece. He hasn't added multiple titles yet.
I'm not going to argue on that point.
But here's the thing. If it was only the number of titles that could put you in the running for the second best player of all time, then Robert Horry would be the second best, or Bill Russell, who you could make an argument for Bill Russell. But that's not what it's about to me. Like, LeBron's already got Curry to me. And nothing that can happen in this playoffs or this year is ever going to change that. Even if Curry wins a 5th, I don't think that he gets past LeBron. Can we just stack it up for a second?
Wait, what about a 6th and 7th? You're just saying, I mean, Curry goes crazy the next 5 years, which is unlikely.
I mean, the next 5 years, he's 35.
Right, but he's got old man game. It's great.
So does LeBron, though. So, like, LeBron's still matching him.
LeBron needs that power, though.
Okay, LeBron does need power, but that's like... So now you're seeing a little bit different of a LeBron game, even though he just had 20 points and 20 rebounds for the first time ever in his career. Like, he's still making this sort of history in his own way. But, like, LeBron James is definitely the better all-around basketball player than Steph Curry. They don't even play close to the same position, although LeBron does bring the ball up the floor a lot and can play point guard too. But, like, LeBron James is an 18-time All-NBA. Steph Curry's an 8-time All-NBA. LeBron's made 6 All-Defensive teams. Are we just going to we're just going to pretend like defense doesn't matter? If we're giving this as an offensive award, then okay, maybe Steph Curry could have them, but LeBron also does it on the other side of the floor too.
Sorry, what's the Steph Curry defensive play from yesterday that made any difference? What's the difference if you're hitting 50 points on your opponent's head? I don't care what kind of defense you play.
I know, but like, it's not just, if you're just talking about scoring, just scoring.
I'm talking about winning.
Okay, but LeBron's done as much winning. They're actually literally tied. Their record head-to-head in the regular season is 10-10, I saw. And also, but right now, Curry has the record in the playoffs. I believe he leads like 15-7 or something. Because Curry had better teams than some of those LeBron Cavs teams.
Well, okay. Here's the thing. Steph Curry is a better shooter. There's no doubt. Outside shooter.
Curry might be the best shooter of all time.
Right. But Curry, the most important number to me in all basketball is effective field goal percentage. When you let the ball out of your hand, what percentage are you of getting your team points? And Steph's at 58%. LeBron's at 54%. LeBron's huge and plays in the middle. He should have a gigantic shooting percentage advantage, and he doesn't. But Steph just creates so many points for his team.
I know. And listen, to Curry's credit, yesterday, he was in the paint a lot yesterday, and he was scoring a lot of those 2 points. Also hit 7 threes yesterday. But LeBron also has the shooting. Like, it's not nearly as good as Curry, but he can also shoot. He's a 4-time MVP to Curry's 2-time MVP. He's a 4-time Finals MVP to Curry's 1-time Finals MVP. I mean, he's made 10 more All-Star games. Not that that matters. He's been playing longer. It's just, you can't tell me, like, if you're just saying by shooting, yes, but basketball isn't just shooting.
Basically, to me, Steph Curry... Now, he has to win one this year. If he wins one, he's just proven he does things that win you titles more efficiently than LeBron James. If he can win, this year would be a feather on his cap, but it'd be an incredible achievement because this would be really just him. And they're very similar to last year, except for some reason everyone's getting older, except he isn't.
Yeah.
If he could do it this year and win a 5th, then I think you're going to have a great argument.
See, I think LeBron checks the same boxes in terms of, like, the do-it-allness.
But LeBron is clearly, for them to win a title, we keep saying he has to be the second best player on his team. He needs Anthony Davis.
In year 20, I mean, in year 20, that's not like a,
Steph doesn't.
That's not a knock.
Steph doesn't seem to need that, and he's 35.
I know, but Jordan couldn't even make the playoffs when he was 38. So are we going to start?
That's interesting. Oh, you already have to go.
But I'm just saying we say that Jordan's the greatest of all time, right? Number one far and away, although I'm, of the LeBron camp a bit, I'll say more. I know that Jordan is incredible. That's not today's argument. But if we're talking about LeBron has to be second fiddle now at 38. I'm just saying the greatest of all time, Jordan, after taking 3 years off in the middle of his career and then taking more years off after he retired the second time and then coming back, still couldn't make the playoffs at 38.
Well, right.
Like, I can't knock LeBron for being just the second best player on the team at 38.
Well, we'll see what Steph can do at 38. If we're getting to longevity, does that mean that Frank Gore was one of the great running backs of all time? Of course not.
Compiler.
Let's not do longevity. I'm not a longevity guy. And how many All-NBA? 18?
Yeah. It's a lot.
If you're talking about the greatest ever debates, you can't get into those overall numbers.
Okay, but then...
In my opinion.
But then what am I supposed to use then? Just like a snapshot of their 5-year peak? Because you could say Curry's kind of still in a peak.
Yeah, I think you probably should. I think you go
you'd be using longevity for Curry, but you won't use it for LeBron.
Who is... I think the impact on championships, that's really what we're talking about.
LeBron could go to any team in the league, and all of a sudden they would be a finals favorite. That was not that long ago we used to be able to say something like that.
And I assume Steph Curry could, too. I mean, the team, he needs the right system, but he could bring this.
He doesn't play defense in the league.
Who was on that team last year is basically the Detroit Pistons with Steph Curry. Who's on that team that's any good? I mean, Wiggins played pretty well last year.
Klay Thompson is an all-time great player and a Splash Brothers shooter. And people think Draymond's like a first ballot Hall of Famer. And Steve Kerr's a Hall of Fame coach.
Nobody's confusing post-injury Klay with pre-injury Klay.
No, but
last year's team was not great, and they handled the Celtics, who were really good.
Wiggins was a former #1 overall pick who finally blossomed into his own all those years later. It's not like he had no talent.
Yeah, you take him away from Steph, he's Harrison Barnes.
Okay, and you also had Jordan Poole, who did enough last year to garner this huge contract. Like, they all came to play. I don't know how great of players they are, but they played really well last year.
How good? What's that team like if you take Steph off it? They're terrible.
Well, what's the Lakers like without LeBron?
They have Anthony Davis and D'Angelo Russell. They're probably better than the Warriors. I mean, at least they have one All-NBA type.
I don't know. I'm worried about it. I'm worried about D'Angelo Russell in the series, but just defensively, I don't know how he's going to be. Is he going to guard Curry?
I actually have 3 All-NBA players because I forgot about Austin Reeves and Rui Hachimura, who in the last 3 weeks have all of a sudden.
The future Hall of Famers are Hachimura.
I'm never going to move you off of LeBron debate, but do you admit that there is something to, if Steph wins a title this year, which is a long, long way away.
Yeah, Nuggets look real good.
It's going to look, the one-man aspect of this will really help Steph's legacy, more so than probably ever before. Because I don't remember a Warriors team that was so dependent on him.
Okay, but think about, we're not just talking about this year, we're talking about all time. There were years when Steph Curry was winning titles that they had the best team ever. You didn't need Kevin Durant on that team.
So LeBron, come on. He had to join Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, so those all neutralize each other.
Okay, but LeBron actually got to a finals in Cleveland early on with nobody around.
Yeah, but who cares? Dwight Howard took the Magic the next year. That East was awful back then.
Okay, but still,
and they got swept by the Spurs, didn't they?
But those were, yes, they did. But those were a bunch of, no disrespect to them, but that was a bunch of no-name guys. Boobie Gibson and Ira Newble, and was Gauskas even on that team?
Right, but if Steph wins the title this year, then it's an incredible achievement. Something that LeBron couldn't do as a one-man team.
That's true. LeBron could never do it as a one-man team.
Because the style that Steph plays... I don't think Curry's
going to be able to do it if the team doesn't show up.
In the 2010s, one note, New York Times picked a player of the decade, and it was Steph.
Yeah.
And their reason was... And I don't know if this counts. They said Steph changed the game forever, and that impact made him different than LeBron. Now, I don't know if I totally agree with that. Is there anything style? Because here, all I'll say is LeBron is bigger and stronger and faster than everyone. So generally, people don't put Kareem and Will Chamberlain and those guys, because if you're just taller and faster and stronger and better than everyone, you don't get quite as much credit.
Okay, as far as transcending the game, yes, but I think a lot of people look at Steph Curry and love what he does, but they hate what that's done to the game.
Maybe so.
Because it spawned, not just like the Steph Currys who actually pass the ball and move and are really electric. It also, in some ways, kind of tangentially gave birth to like the James Hardens and the guys who just dribble, shoot. At least
those guys have nothing to do with Steph. I think Trae Young is the actual, and Caitlin Clark and all these deep shooters.
Yeah, but the guys Trae Young, when's he passed the ball? I'm just saying,
he's probably the best assist guy in the league.
But he also is one of those dribble, shoot guys. And so that's what people hate, just the amount of threes that get taken in an NBA game. I think that fans now don't love how much the pendulum has swung towards so many threes.
Well, okay. We agree to disagree. I like the long distance game.
Listen, I love a Dame Lillard. I love Curry.
Yeah.
I love watching that stuff.
I don't put Harden in the same category as them. Maybe I should. Maybe that's my mistake. If Steph had Luka and James Harden are so opposite of Steph Curry. Steph Curry's always moving the ball, never slows it down. James Harden takes 20 and 24-second clock to do nothing.
It's just more about the threes. Yes, they're getting to the three-pointers in a different way, but about shooting from anywhere and all about three-pointers.
Yeah, I guess, all right, as long as you get James Harden's name away from me, I'm okay. No, I totally hear you, but I do think if you want to make that argument, I'm not using that argument, but you could make the argument, style-wise, Steph Curry is ushered in a whole new era.
He did. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. All right, basketball starts us off today. It's going to be the Warriors and the Lakers. That series gets underway on Tuesday. I mean, there is no turnaround time here for the Warriors. And
but they're home. They're home, so that's a little better.
They had barely any turnaround time from Game 6, where they looked terrible, to Game 7, where Curry just willed them to win. Do you see that? Apparently, he gave a big speech before the game.
I did.
Yeah.
And I forgot, he's an emotional leader, too. Did I mention that? Which he usually is. It's usually Draymond. That's
what I'm saying. It was rare, I guess, that Curry really got everyone together before Game 7. So he's getting some praise for that, too.
You gave the Draymond sound, right? Where they all stayed up all night and watched film.
Yeah. We got more Draymond sound for you.
I feel so bad for my cute little Kings. They clearly were not up to that moment. But they will be moving forward. That is it. You got me onto that team in the first place. That is a lovable team. Fox, Monk, our guy, Sabonis.
Yeah.
Maybe he didn't shake Draymond's hand, but he's still one of my favorite players.
Yeah. He didn't shake Draymond's hand. We got sound from that. We've got all of this stuff we're going to get to in just a little bit. But want to hear from you at 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Again, we've got basketball, Steph Curry versus LeBron James. We've got NFL draft that we've got to recap. Big weekend for Aaron Rodgers. Big weekend for Lamar Jackson. We got hockey we have to get to on the show today after an incredible day yesterday, and more Game 7s coming your way tonight. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. You can listen to listen to our show across the country. We're like a little country here. Maggie and Perloff, Bill.
Good save, Maggie.
Thank you. Hello, Monday.
Population of 4.
Yes, it's a small yet powerful country.
It's like one of those countries that's a city and a country, like Montenegro or something.
Luxembourg.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yes. Hello, Maggie. You can listen to us across the country on CBS Sports Radio. You can also watch the show, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. We say what's up to the Weedos and the Purple Drinkers in the chat. Get on board. See you guys on the phones. Get to you in just a moment. Don't move. More Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. Minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
On Maggie and Perloff. By the way, you see what I did with my Steph LeBron argument?
What was that? You're arguing Steph Curry to pass LeBron for legacy, I guess?
Yes, and therefore pushing you off of LeBron versus Michael Jordan.
Yes.
Just to put you on the defensive. It was
like the appetizer.
Yeah, it was like a brilliant defense attorney move. But give us a call if you have thoughts. I think Steph Curry could pass LeBron James on the all-time player list if he carries the Warriors to a title this year. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. That's a huge if, by the way, because I think I could coach against the Warriors, Maggie. Just put 4 guys on Steph, but he has a style that makes it hard to do that because he plays so far away from the basket. I don't know who the Kings were covering exactly last night. I would have left most of those guys wide open.
Yeah.
But, I think one of the things, they left Looney open, that let Looney just come and crash at will.
Looney was excellent, yes.
But it was, it's one of my favorite Steph games of all time. It was great because, as you mentioned in the first segment, he had those little flips inside the lane. It was like, no way. I mean, that spin.
How? I just don't know. The fact that he had 30 points in the second half, like this was a close game at halftime.
Yeah.
It was a close game. The spread was basically a pick-em, and then all of a sudden the Warriors just in the third quarter pulled away, and then it wasn't even ever in doubt.
Yeah, I think the Kings, it was too big a moment for them. Steph's that old guy who shows up in jeans at the pickup court, and you're like, this guy, we're going to destroy this guy. Then he gets underneath and there's a little dipsy Deuce, spins it off the top of the backboard, and you lose.
Yeah, listen, it's going to be a little different with Looney if he's facing Anthony Davis, if he's healthy. Like, this whole series, the next series, is going to present a completely different challenge.
That's what you got for me?
I'm sorry. Did you want me to say Austin Reeves and Hachimura? I know it's the only two guys you respect on the Lakers.
Just get Davis out of the way so Rui can just get to work. Rui's going to kill the Warriors. They have no one to match up with him.
Who is this guy? 855. Remember him briefly at Gonzaga. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Oh, our pal Ryan in Santa Barbara is hanging out with us today. What's up, Ryan?
Oh, my God, I'm so lost now because you have me so sideways after so many different looks at this. But let's go! I was off on the Dubs on Game 6, and wow, the Lakes with that 40-point win. Wow. This is going to be the matchup of the ages. I'm still at loss of words because my boy, the best point guard shooter of all time, with Fitty in Game 7. Are we not in agreement on that one? Can I get a yes or no?
Wait, that Steph's the best point guard of all time?
I would say yes. What were those crazy, half court, skateboard layup things?
Yeah.
I mean, what was
Wait,
that?
hold on, Ryan. I got to go back for a second. Did you say this is going to be a matchup?
Looney smashing the boards with 21. I want to give him I almost want to give him the best player of the game.
Wait, Ryan, sorry. Did you say the Warriors-Lakers is going to be a matchup for the ages or the ancient?
My God, you know it, Maggie, and I love you so much. Don't you think, this is going to be the best. I can't wait. Tuesday night, yeah. I am going to be drinking Tito's and soda and screaming at the TV. I'm just going to be scared.
Wait.
Ryan, I love it. Thank you for painting that picture for us.
I'm still rolling in the caddy, by the way, because of the lemon Ford.
There we go.
Hey, Ryan, you have Steph over Magic Johnson?
Ooh, he's still early. It's still early.
He's 35.
Hey, Perloff, I'm M&P. I'm going to say here M&P, not M&M. How long did Magic play? Till what age?
Oh, I got confused because of HIV.
Got cut short, unfortunately. But, I think you still, Ryan, you're the best. Your energy off the charts. I just did something here to the call screener yet again. Ryan, thank you so much. Man, Ryan in the caddy, he was a little off on the Warriors Game 6. Just a little. They got creamed. But the fact they came back in Game 7, and now you get this Steph Curry against LeBron, look how excited Ryan is. That's how the entirety of California feels right now.
LeBron definitely heard segment 1 of the show because he hears everything. He's going to, at some point of the series, he's going to get into serious LeBron defensive stance. When he does that, where he just sort of almost Steve Wojciechowski style bangs the floor and is like, I'm going to shut this guy down. And usually it succeeds.
So you think he's going to take it upon himself to guard Steph? If
Steph gets hot, I guarantee you at one point, if Steph is single-handedly winning this, then he is going to take on Steph. I guarantee it.
Oh, I don't think so.
Well, what are the Lakers guard?
It's got to be like Schroeder, and I just don't
Schroeder, Reeves, Russell.
That is not a great I
wonder if they're going to cut into Russell's minutes if he doesn't start playing better. He has some moment. I think he was good on Friday. So, yeah, I bet you LeBron at least puts a quarter on Steph at some point. It's going to be awesome to see.
That's cool. Can we go to Jay in Alabama? Can you pull it up, Carlos? Thank you. Jay, what's up, dude?
First off, whatever kind of rails Ryan from Santa Barbara is riding, please let us know in the chat. We know it's a radio show. We don't need to know everything on air, but, man, I need to hit it at Ryan. But
seriously.
But anyways, okay, to sit up here and say who's the greatest of all time or ask that question is kind of an unintelligent question because, basically it's basically all on preference and generational and all that. As far as I'm concerned, there's no such thing as a GOAT. But if you ask me in an intelligent way, like if I am a GM and I have a team if I have a team full of Dellavedovas or whatever, who am I picking first? I'm picking LeBron. If I pick Jordan, he's probably going to punch everybody in the face because they all suck. If I pick Curry, who wasn't even the best guy on his team when KD was playing for him, I mean, yeah, I got a short shooter, but where am I at on defense? I'm picking LeBron first. So, like, I don't know if you can throw all the old school players in too, but they played in a different era where everybody was a lot less, like, athletic. And, like, we could throw all these arguments in it, but in an intelligent way, who am I taking first? I am taking a 6'8" LeBron who could play tight end probably if he just stuck with football. But, I mean, and that's not a preference. You know, I prefer – actually, Kobe is my favorite. But who I'm taking first?
Yeah.
Like in a
I'm with you, Jay.
Way. Yeah.
It's got to be LeBron. Thank you so much for the phone call. Love when Jay weighs in. I get your point, though, about, listen, Curry deserves to be up in the conversation. I just don't think it's as high as LeBron.
Okay.
And I don't think that Curry, for as amazing as he is, and he is amazing, does he end up like on the Mount Rushmore? I don't know if ultimately he does, because who's he going to knock off? If right now
Mount Rushmore is 4. Ooh.
Like you have Jordan, LeBron, Kareem, and Magic. I mean, who?
Well, why Magic over Bird? Those guys are interchangeable.
Okay,
why Russell? Why not Russell?
So, or Russell, whatever, whoever your Mount Rushmore
there's no real Mount
it's going to be hard for Curry to crack that. No matter who you are, no matter your Ackerman's Mount Rushmore could be different from yours, could be different from mine than Stu's or Carlos. It's going to be hard for Curry to crack any of ours.
Well, I just think that people tend to pick players they've seen. And that's why Jordan's number 1, because a lot of the media saw him. And that's why LeBron has moved up to number 2. And I think that Steph has been seen by a lot of media members, so that'll give him a big advantage.
Well, fans. I mean, it doesn't just have to be media. You know,
right.
Fans can have their own Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, but I just think that he's going to get he has a huge advantage over Kareem because Kareem played 40 years ago. And I think that people are going to move somebody up. And trust me, they're going to move someone up above all these. There's going to be the next LeBron's going to come along, and someone's going to say, he's better than LeBron. And we're going to say, we're really old, we're going to say, but you never saw LeBron.
You never watched it. Listen, we got a little taste of that, tiny bit, when we interviewed Joe Montana at the Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
You know?
Great point.
And listen, Brady passed him.
We forget,
but
though.
We do forget, like, Montana was so freaking good.
I do think
it doesn't get mentioned anymore.
Our society's so guilty of recency bias these days. And recency, like 8 minutes ago.
Yeah. It's not just our society, this radio show. But here's the thing, because I'll defend us, though, in the sense that what we're watching is the biggest thing in the moment. We don't have time to compare everything to something historic. So it's shorthand. Sometimes you say, that's the best thing I ever saw. It's one of the greatest things I've ever seen. Because, we're in the moment. We're sports fans. How else are we supposed to live?
Well, I just think that things have sped up. For example, most of these guys who are drafted in the NFL, 21 years old, they have no idea they know Michael Jordan because of the shoes, not the game.
And The Last Dance, probably. I think a lot of people got turned on to him from the doc.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying. The guys definitely don't know the older guys, and you tend to credit the people you saw more. I just think that's natural. I'm sure it happened in the 70s and 80s and 90s, but the way things have sped up on social media, the recency bias seems really recent. It's like yesterday's TikTok star is not today's TikTok star. Maybe I'm sounding old here, but I do think that I think that people really are about who's next. Let's pump up somebody. Let's build up somebody. Let's hurry up. Victor Wembanyama, let's get him out there and make him the best ever, that kind of thing.
Think about it. I mean, if you believe the numbers, like 50 million people watch the draft.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And it's all because of not just who's next, but who can help my team right now. Because even if you are a fan of a team that has had lots of success, let's just say, for example, the Dallas Cowboys. You're a Dallas Cowboys fan. You're getting sick and tired, I bet, of hearing about the 90s. Even though you were a dynasty team in the 90s, you go back to the 70s, but in the 90s, like, you don't want to hear about that anymore. You only want to hear about when are we going to win now, because I'm paying my money now. I'm spending my time now. I'm buying tickets now.
Well, there are a couple exceptions. The 85 Bears. Bears fans they have two teams. They have their current team and the 85 Bears. I do feel like the Cowboys fans will still get enjoyment out of that 90s team. If you go up to them and say the triplets weren't that good, you immediately have a debate. But
yeah.
I tell you what you're saying. I think I do disagree. Nothing that happened over this year's draft is going to have a major impact on the standings because rookies do not impact winning. They just do not.
It's not about the standings.
It's a team building and bigger picture.
I think that, let's take the draft, for example. I think you have a lot of teams that were completely uninteresting that are now extremely interesting. Like, the most interesting thing about the Indianapolis Colts last year is when they dragged Jeff Saturday out of ESPN's set and got him on the sideline. Somehow he beat Stu's Raiders in his debut, and then it goes on to lose, 7 in a row? That's not, that can't be the lasting thing. Now the Colts, to me, are super interesting.
Well, yeah, they have the chosen one. They have the most interesting player in the draft by 200-fold.
Yeah, right. It's like, what is Anthony Richardson going to be? And we're going to watch him right away. So we are going to get a quick return on what does he look like. The problem is I don't think they're going to win a lot of games, but we're still going to see him.
Yes, but I do think, though, the counter argument is there's still going to be terrible teams next year. There's going to be a top 10. I think Houston sounds interesting now. Yeah. I think they're going to get boring real quick. I think
you don't think C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson are going to keep our attention?
Tennessee, Arizona, obviously, are by design going to be boring. Washington will be boring. I do think there's going to be a lot of bad teams this year. I think next year, particularly, you're going to have some real bottom feeders in the NFL.
Well, they're looking ahead to the next draft class. Again, what's next?
Did you get that sense? Were you watching the draft being like, I cannot help but keep thinking about next year's draft class, more so than usual? Maybe it was Arizona, because Arizona made so many moves to get capital for next year.
Basically, Arizona is like the process.
Kind of, but they didn't give away anything of significance, right? They're going to be bad this year anyway because Kyler's hurt. So they really killed it, I think.
I think they did, too. I mean, Kyler... He'll probably come back at some point this year. I wouldn't rush him back by any stretch now. But, is he the starter moving forward? You now have Houston's number 1 pick, and you have your own number 1 pick next year. If you get the number 1 overall pick and Caleb Williams is sitting there, are you really not going to draft him? Because the last regime, who stinks, took Kyler Murray and then was dumb enough to pay him? I don't think so. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. You're welcome to weigh in. We'll talk a little more draft, the things we love, the things that we didn't like so much coming off the weekend. We do all that right after this CBS Sports Update with Rich Ackerman.
Sports Flash.
And this report is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Protect your family, your phone, and your furry friends with life, electronic device, and pet health insurance. The Celtics and Sixers meet tonight in Boston to open their second-round series, and the Sixers might not have Joel Embiid for the opener. The All-Star is doubtful with a sprained knee. The Celtics are healthy, but had trouble finishing off the Hawks in the previous round. Jaylen Brown lifted Boston along with Jason Tatum, and the former took some positives from that opening round.
We got some warriors and some tough guys in his locker room. Some guys that handle adversity well and don't back down from challenges. Unafraid of the moment. And you get reminded of that in the playoffs when you get to these, pressure situations and get to the time where the game is on the line. That's where you get to see what somebody's made of.
Game 2 between the Suns and Nuggets in Denver, which took the opener on Saturday. The first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs comes to an end with Game 7 between the Rangers and Devils in New Jersey. The Calgary Flames have fired head coach Darryl Sutter after 3 years. Baseball this afternoon. Right now in the top of the 8th, the Braves have a 9-7 lead over the Mets. I'm Rich Ackerman.
CBS Sports Radio is everywhere. At home, in your car, and of course, on your phone and tablet. Find us on your local affiliate, SiriusXM, Channel 158, or the free Odyssey app.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Ask the Pros, where you, the listener, gets to ask us a question, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Simply check out the link, cbssportsradio.com/askthepros, or tweet your question at CBS Sports Radio using the hashtag #AskThePros. Be listening later in the show when we might answer your question. Brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. I got to tell you, Maggie, I think we all had our favorite moment of the draft.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yes.
Let's get to our Cowboys Quickie for today. give it up to the Cowboys for giving us a moment that none of us will forget. This was Deuce Vaughn, who was a guest on our show on Thursday and was delightful. Of course, his father is a scout for the Dallas Cowboys. We talked about it extensively when he was on the show. And his father got to make the phone call that I'm sure he'd been dreaming about his entire career, calling his own son to tell him he'd been drafted.
Hey, buddy.
How's it going?
Hey, it's going good. This is Dad. My phone wasn't working. Look at here, man. You want to come to work with me next week?
I wouldn't mind that.
Oh my gosh, Chris Vaughn. I mean, you can hear like the tears are kind of swelling, and he does a good job kind of choking them down. But what a moment.
Yeah, Jerry was crying on the phone with him.
I think Jerry cries a lot, I bet.
Yeah, but this,
quick to cry.
Of course, yeah, you're right. If everyone else is going to cry, Jerry's going to cry. He's not going to miss that good cry.
Yeah.
So this is really cool. People were a little worried. We put a photo out of you being taller than Deuce Vaughn. People have to understand Maggie is tall.
Yeah, it was a little Mina Kimes with Bryce Young situation. Like, no. I'm actually a tall person. For a running back, I'd be pretty tall.
Yeah, I don't think that Deuce Vaughn is that short, believe it or not. Because I've been around Darren Sproles, and he is really short. Deuce is listed at 5'5", but he's all at 5'5". He doesn't come off like a short guy. I think and he's big, so I think he can do some things.
No, I'm 5'8". I'm a good size for a running back.
Yeah. No, you're almost too tall, too much of a time. I mean, you saw you ran the. If you haven't seen Maggie run the 40, check out our Twitter feed at Maggie and Pearl. It is very upright. Let's just put it that way.
Very Forrest Gump.
Run, Maggie, run.
Wait, that's your Cowboys quickie for today.
I love the Cowboys draft.
Oh, tell me.
Yeah, so everyone gave him a hard time because they missed out on Dalton Kincaid in the first round. But they have this new thing where they always have these boring draft picks, and they usually end up being really good players.
I know.
So they got Maggie Smith, defensive tackle out of Michigan. They needed a tackle. Their second round pick, they got Luke Schoonmaker out of Michigan, the tight end.
Yep.
I probably screwed up that name. But then this one guy, I was watching the third round, and DeMarvion Overshawn out of Texas, who was a star at Texas, got drafted. I have never heard praise. Louis Riddick almost jumped off the set and said, this is going to be one of the better players in this year's draft. He's a linebacker.
Yep.
So I feel like they make these picks. It reminds me of Sam Hubbard last year. We don't pay attention to them. They're not necessarily. We didn't know Micah Parsons was going to be Micah Parsons. We thought he was an interior linebacker. We had no idea he was going to be Lawrence Taylor. So I like the way they draft, believe it or not. It's completely unusual because you think of Jerry as being kind of flying off the handle. This is normal, boring, positional drafting, and I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, I guess like the one, if you wanted to have a criticism of their draft, it was, when did they end up taking an offensive lineman? Not until quite later, right? Fifth round. They end up taking Asim Richards out of North Carolina, and maybe thought that was a little bit late to be taking an offensive lineman because there's going to be a little bit of turnover there with the Cowboys. But watch, I mean, the way that the luck, or more than luck, the scouting that the Cowboys have had with offensive line, this dude who was picked 169th could end up probably being like a 10-year starter or something.
Oh, absolutely. They have used a lot. I mean, they drafted an offensive lineman first round last year. You can't go the same position.
And he ended up having to start.
Yeah.
And filled in admirably at left tackle as a rookie.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know the Eagles are getting all the love. I'm telling you, the Cowboys did not fall off this offseason.
Okay.
I'm sticking to that.
How about this? Looking at that Mazzie Smith, the defensive tackle from Michigan, is this because the Eagles keep using that rugby play, the tush push?
Get out of
are
here.
you trying to get defensive tackles now to try? There's no way you're stopping that quarterback sneak, right? Are you even trying to by getting another defensive tackle?
I mean, I think the Cowboys were 22nd against the run.
Yeah, they're just bad against the run, but
right, and they're really they should be top 10 because they're one of the best defenses in the league. All I know is all the former GMs say the same thing. Ooh, that guy's going to be good in Dan Quinn's defense. Ooh, wait till Dan Quinn gets a hold of that guy. And Dan Quinn has had a proven track record, so I'm excited for all these guys. And also, too, Micah Parsons is such a force that is anyone going to be bothered to block Mazzie Smith? He's going to go nuts. He's going to go nuts on run plays.
I think that you're downplaying your Eagles a little bit. I mean,
let's talk about that.
They were like the toast of the draft, and it's not just because they now have, count them, 6 players from Georgia on their team, but it's not that they have 6 players from Georgia. Like, you could have teams that have 6 players from Alabama. I don't think anyone would find it that odd.
I just looked. The Eagles have 5 Alabama players.
Yeah, right.
I think it's the most in the NFL.
If you don't have 5 Alabama players, clearly you're doing something wrong. But the thing is, it's not just that they have the Georgia players. It's just their last 2 drafts have been Georgia drafts.
Right.
And listen, I liked your tweet over the weekend where you said, rather than draft all the Georgia guys than out of Vanderbilt.
Yeah,
which
better
is
to
very
get all that. But by the way, then everyone came in with Georgia jokes, and people are calling the Philadelphia Bulldogs, putting hedges into the link. Here's the thing: the 2 Georgia Bulldogs they got last year did nothing, Maggie. They did absolutely 0.0 to help the team win.
Okay, but they also. They were just rookies. The team was still excellent, so you didn't even need them to have this big production because the team went to the freaking Super Bowl. I mean, couldn't stop Patrick Mahomes in the second half, so maybe it could have been cool if one of them stepped up and made a play in the Super Bowl. But listen, a lot of things went wrong for the Eagles in the second half of the Super Bowl. But I guess, they also traded for DeAndre Swift, who is great. By the way, Philly guy.
I know. I did not know that he went same school as Matt Ryan, St.
Joe's Prep, and now comes back. They got him by trading, a
4th rounder.
A 4th rounder. He's making like $1.5 million this year. I mean, another coup here for Philly. But I think maybe here's one thing that could be overlooked. It's just more about Jalen Carter. It was being kind of sold to everybody that Jalen Carter, who's the standout talent from Georgia, who's had off the field stuff, this is going to be good for him to be surrounded by Georgia guys. But he was surrounded by Georgia guys in Georgia, and that's where he got into the trouble. So it's really going to be more incumbent, I think, on the other veterans on the team. It's going to be, like the Fletcher Coxes and guys like that who have been on the Eagles, the Brandon Grahams, these guys who have really been solid, great players in the league. I don't know if you can expect his Georgia teammates to all of a sudden say, hey, man, you got to really buckle down here.
Well, right. I totally agree with that. Now, the thing about him is the problem with Georgia guys is not just character, because Keely Ringo also reportedly has some character stuff as well, because he was supposed to be a first rounder, the cornerback they got in the 3rd round. But the guys at Georgia, there's so much talent there that it's hard to tell. I think it's a little hard to tell which ones are the most talented. They only played limited snaps. Let's take Jordan Davis and Trayvon Walker, who went #1 last year, and Jalen Carter. They didn't play as many snaps as guys at other schools. So how do you know that they're not just feasting off all the other talent? That's why I'm a little concerned systematically about getting all these Georgia guys. Yet did we get the right Georgia guys?
Well, but that's how the Eagles are. You're always shuffling dudes in along the defensive line. So it's not like you're asking someone to be they're bell cows on the defensive line. You're not asking guys to be playing every single snap.
Oh, absolutely. But Jordan Davis, I thought he got hurt. He had a high ankle sprain last year, but I thought he was going to come in and immediately we were going to see dominant play. He was at A+ in everyone's draft grades last year and just wasn't there. So
I just wonder, are more teams going to start to do this? Now, we know teams are obviously really big on poaching from Alabama's roster. Obviously, a lot more Georgia guys got drafted than just what the Eagles did. But is this an outlier? I mean, Peter King joined us on Friday. He's like, this is weird. and he said that before Ringo got drafted and before they traded for Swift.
Well, listen, the Houston Texans just drafted 2 Alabama players, 2 and 3. That's never happened. So, they didn't.
Ohio State and Alabama. Yeah.
They were the first team to ever draft 2 and 3. There was some big deal, big record about them. But I don't know. This has not been proven to do anything yet. That's the problem.
I know. That's what makes this interesting. I feel like everyone's penciling in that this is going to work. The reason why it's going to work for the Eagles is because the Eagles already are a really good team. And you have one of the best quarterbacks in the NFC, and you have this great run game, and the defense, it was already really good.
Yeah, but this hasn't worked yet, by the way. The Eagles got the Super Bowl last year. What happens to the team that loses the Super Bowl? They fall apart, usually. So, I don't know. I'm way, way more negative on this draft than everybody. Everyone else is writing the Eagles they got Jalen Carter is going to be unstoppable, and they're going to the Super Bowl again. I heard back to the Super Bowl. I'm so nervous about this, Maggie. I just don't buy that you can draft these guys and all of a sudden that's going to make up for all the losses in free agency.
Well, I mean, listen, you're in the NFC. I thought the Giants also had a nice draft. The Cowboys had a nice draft, so the NFC East is going to be better. And then we'll get to the Detroit Lions.
By the way,
what's going on in that war room? Yes.
Is it one guy? Doesn't Belichick draft from the same 3 schools every year?
Yeah, like Rutgers,
like
Air Force,
Urban Meyer, any Urban Meyer school. Graciano's school. Yeah. So he usually has all these guys from one team. I don't think that works out great, does it?
Well, Urban's not coaching anymore, so his pipeline's cut off. He needs Urban to get back into college football. We got a lot more to do. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227, including the one NFL team that's taking the biggest risk. We'll explain who that is in just a moment. You're listening to Maggie and Perloff. If you want to watch the show, you can do it. YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Don't move. More Maggie and Perloff just ahead.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Softer, soccer players or soccer fans? Because the hatred I got all day by suggesting that Christian Pulisic didn't put his life on the line to score that goal. Somebody sent us a note. I'm sorry, I'm going to keep on digging my own grave.
Yeah.
They said to Maggie and I that I owed an apology because he had a pelvic concussion. Guy had a typo.
Not a pelvic concussion.
No, the guy said pelvic concussion. I actually looked it up.
A pelvic concussion? There's no such thing. There's no brain rattling around there, although sometimes I think you guys are probably guided more by that than your brains.
Right,
contusion.
I know there's no pelvic concussion.
Fancy word for bruise.
Yeah, I know.
Which doesn't sound good at all. Wait, pelvic contusion.
Yeah, it's better than a pelvic concussion. That's a lot of rattling around though. I actually Googled pelvic concussion last night to see. You should have seen where it came up.
I hope that wasn't a work computer.
Here are Maggie and Perloff.
What up, what up? Welcome to the show. Maggie and Perloff hanging out with you on this Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. We're back from Kansas City. We've got a lot more draft stuff for you, but listen, we all get to look forward to what's going to be a really special series in the NBA. The Warriors pull off the win last night, yesterday afternoon, against the Sacramento Kings, so it sets up Curry against LeBron. Perloff, catch the fever.
Yeah, mano a mano for, I don't know, for what? What does it mean?
To me, nothing.
Because are you saying nothing because if you're talking legacy, LeBron is old and Curry is not old yet, so this cannot be a referendum on how the two match up?
Well, they're both old. They're both defying age. Curry's 35, LeBron's 38.
Yeah, but LeBron at 35 was bubble LeBron, right? So actually, bubble LeBron. He was still a championship-level player. Usually this is about when you sort of tap out being able to do it alone, to be the number one guy.
Well, here's why I think there's not anything at stake here. I'm excited about this series, don't get me wrong. But if you're talking about legacies, miss me with that. Because LeBron, to me, has already surpassed. I don't know what Curry could do to catch LeBron, to run down LeBron. I mean, I just don't think anyone's going to put him as a better player. If you want to say he had a bigger impact on the current NBA, I guess. But even that, I got to have to squint a little bit because LeBron's been the face of the league for 20 years.
What do you think happens if the Warriors win this series and go on to win back-to-back titles? Do you think that is going to be a discussion point?
I mean, it's incredible. It would be. To me, that's the Warriors dynasty that just gets that becomes even longer than it was. It's an extended dynasty.
But something's changing in the dynasty, where the dynasty used to be a group of guys. Now it's one guy.
Well, but this is the core.
But even so, when Curry comes off the court, they are so terrible right now. It was never like that before. He's become more central figure in that team than any other time. Even before Kevin Durant got there, it was Curry, Clay, Draymond, and Harrison Barnes or that fourth guy. Iguodala.
Yeah.
Now it's Curry. Curry, and Curry.
Yeah, I get what you're talking about. But first of all, is that sustainable? I mean, I know Curry basically won them the finals, but is that sustainable right now? I don't know. Secondly, I don't know. I can't put Curry right there with LeBron. I put him there as an all-time great. Don't get me wrong, but LeBron's 1 or 2 in the conversation. Curry's not 1 or 2.
Not yet. He's not done, though.
That's true. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Let's hear a little from Draymond yesterday because this is rich. So after the game, Domantas Sabonis apparently did not shake Draymond Green's hand. Here was Draymond on his own podcast.
Lost a lot of respect for Sabonis. You don't shake guys' hands after you lose I don't respect that. I once left the court when we lost in Game 7 of the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I went to my locker room and I sat down and I said, this don't feel right. And I walked back out on the court and I showed everybody love. You lost. Deal with it. Pay your respect.
What about when you step on a guy? Do you respect somebody when you step on him? Does he have to shake your hand a couple games later? Let's not forget, Draymond got suspended for a game because he stomped on Sabonis. I don't think Sabonis owes him a handshake.
No. This is typical Draymond.
The idea that Draymond would call somebody out and say they don't respect him for sportsmanship is hilarious. He has to be the most, what would you say, like, least aware. Maybe Dylan Brooks, who says that the media turned him into a villain. Okay.
Draymond's got this weird thing. It feels like he is aware, and he's just messing with everybody. Like he's smarter than everybody, and he might just be.
Yeah, it always goes great for athletes when they play the I'm smarter than everyone in the room category.
That's what Draymond sounds like.
That.
He comes off on these podcasts as so calm when he can be oftentimes erratic when he gets angry on the court. I mean, listen, we know that he's gotten a lot of technicals in his career. He's got a lot of suspensions. But then you hear him on his podcast, and he's as calm as can be. When I lost,
Tell us more, Draymond,
when I lost because I kicked some guy in the groin and got kicked out of the series at Game 7, I went back on there. Come on. Yeah, I honestly, if I was Domantas Sabonis, at some point, I'm sure he wanted to take a swing at Draymond. Don't you think?
Well, I'm sure, probably right after the guy stepped on him with a size 14 shoe.
Right. If it was a pickup game, it would have been a full-out brawl. There would have been no other way to settle that situation. So, not to say go back and shake hands. But I'm not clear, by the way. Did Sabonis shake any hands or just not Draymond's?
I don't know. I think he just left the court.
Yeah, I felt bad because not only that, they were kind of trying to embarrass him.
Well, he scored 4 points in the second half. It just was not good for Sabonis in the second half. He looked like he was on his way to having a good game in the first half, but
they don't cover him. It's definitely disrespectful. Remember that happened in the women's game where basically Iowa was not covering the big people on South Carolina, and I don't know, that came off as kind of an affront. But Sabonis, until the second half, did have a good game. He ended up with 22 points, 2 blocks, and 8 boards. It's not the worst game. But you're right. It's just embarrassing. They leave him alone for 15 feet. He was hitting it, but he just has no confidence in that shot.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Laura in the chat has a compliment for Perloff. Did Perloff get any sun? He's looking less pale. Were you out in the sun this week?
No, it was pouring rain.
Yeah, it didn't stop raining in the Northeast from the moment we landed from Kansas City.
That could easily be allergies or any number of things that is making my face red.
No? Okay. I wasn't sure. She thinks you look great.
Well, thank you, Laura. I know. She is right about one thing. I look red. I never look tan. There's no tan, Perloff. Does not exist.
Just straight from raw to well done.
Yeah. Basically, and it doesn't fade into tan either. It just fades into pink. No, there's no good sun situation for me. But
we're just describing you as how we'd cook a steak. Jeffrey Howell in the chat says, got a little advice for me. Maggie, for your 40-yard dash at next year's draft, have someone attach a bag of gummies to a stick like they do at a dog track. See, that implies that I needed some kind of motivation. The motivation was to not embarrass myself, which I'm pretty sure I did.
I did not see you fall. I
didn't fall.
Honestly, I thought you ran at exactly the same pace as you did the year before. I think the clock was different.
I thought so, too.
I definitely think so.
The stopwatch was off in Kansas City. You want to know the most embarrassing part about this, actually? Is so you guys, I had to leave you guys because you are at the finish line filming, and I obviously was the start line. So I couldn't run. I got heels on. I got boots on. So I had to ditch my shoes and run barefoot like I did last year in Vegas and then this year in Kansas City. And so I do this whole thing with the crowd and hyping them up, and then I run the 40, and this is like pretty embarrassing. And I get back to the starting line, and there's a guy there who was the MC for the day.
Yeah.
And he goes aside, he's like, hey, so I'm like an aspiring broadcaster. Do you have any tips for me? I'm like, well, you can make yourself look like a moron by running the 40 in a pair of jeans.
Make sure you drink water and stretch.
Which I did not do. It's like, do stunts like this.
One thing, if you want to get into business, do not hit the clock early like you did on Maggie the other day.
Yeah. How dare you sandbag me like that?
Yeah, just let her get about 10 yards in, then hit go.
Yeah, he's like interning for like some radio station in Cleveland. Ask for any advice.
Well, unless you're at the combine, the 40 is such an imprecise science. I tell you,
Terrible.
I've been to a few pro days, and there's like a 87-year-old scout with a stopwatch, and the guy finished the goes like, "Did he start yet?" It's just like, they have no idea. The 40 is generally a guess. I think they started the clock way too early. I think you start running after the clock started.
Yeah.
In fact, I have video to prove this, I think.
I think that I had like a Fred Flintstone kind of wind up where I was like, like my feet were going, and then I took off,
Yeah.
Like
you were
fast feet.
Next year, maybe, can we get you a coach or something? Somebody tell you how to get out of the blocks?
How about just like a pair of shorts? I think I could have
sneakers,
maybe a pair of sneakers. I gotta plan a little better for this thing.
The upright running style, you have so much wind resistance coming at you when you run like that the whole time.
I told you I'm taller than people think, so that's a whole 5'8".
Yeah,
I'm like a parachute out there.
Right, and it's not like you're like that. You're like that from yard 2 to 40. You're full upright.
Yeah, I am.
Usually you start down low and you get some momentum going and you get off the block and you get that power.
Yeah.
You're straight up immediately run.
Yep, like the white person I am. I am just not very good. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Okay, so some other draft things that we thought were kind of interesting. Number one is that the Detroit Lions basically got roasted from coast to coast after their first round of the draft, where they traded back from 6. They end up taking Jahmyr Gibbs, the talented running back out of Alabama, at 12. And then they took inside linebacker Jack Campbell from Iowa State at
Jack Campbell
20.
sounds like he's out of the movie Draft Day. Inside linebacker Jack Campbell out of Iowa.
No, it sounds like his grandfather. It's like his grandfather, Jack Campbell.
Yeah, his grandfather, Jack Campbell, was a linebacker for the 1979 Rams.
Exactly.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay, so that was kind of like the sort of knock on Detroit. But then they rebounded in days 2 and 3. Sam Laporta, the tight end, is, if you remember, Andy Staples, college football writer for The Athletic, we had him on draft week. He said this is his guy who is like a not-so-sleeper. So they take him with the 34th pick overall. Then they get Brian Branch, the talented defensive back. That's pick 45. And how about this with Hendon Hooker in round 3, Perloff? And there were actually 7 quarterbacks with 7 day 3 quarterbacks. Hooker and who else went in the 3rd round? O'Connell, right? Did he go?
He was 4th round.
Excuse me.
I think 2 went 4th round. I think Hooker might have been.
Was he
the
going
only
in the 3rd
round?
We'll double check. But anyway,
was Jake Haener?
And Haener, thank you.
Oh, Haener. Oh, right. Haener went. Wait, he was 3rd round.
I know he was a day 3 guy. I don't know if it was a 3rd or 4th, but yeah.
So day 3 starts.
Day 3, yes, 2. Well, okay, so we'll effort that for you. But Hendon Hooker was an interesting one.
Haener went in the 4th. There was a little run in the 4th.
Right. That's what it was. And obviously our Stetson Bennett also went in the 4th. So, but back to Hooker. So Hooker goes in the 3rd round, and I just had a feeling that Detroit was going to leave this draft with some kind of quarterback, right? I don't know if you could ever expect a 3rd rounder to step in and start for you. Definitely not right away. But this is a great idea if you're Detroit. Like, the logic here, I follow it. I agree with it. You still have Goff, who has a lot of supporters now because of how good the offense was last year. You got the same offensive coordinator as you did last year. Keep Goff in there. And then you've got Hooker, who not only is recovering from the ACL, but he's also got to learn an entirely new offense. Not that they all don't, but like Detroit's running like a pro-style offense. Goff's like under center. When was Hendon Hooker ever? When is any college football quarterback under center? But he wasn't under center at all. It's going to be like a bit of a learning curve, and so they give him a little time to get this all figured out.
But the fact that, first of all, they passed on him, and I think they passed on him in the 2nd round. How much in love were they really? What do you when you hear 3rd round quarterback? My immediate thought is, okay, backup. We're in backup territory.
But
it's long shot / backup. So to me, actually, I came away from the Lions draft saying, whoa, they're really committing to Jared Goff in a weird way.
I think so, too, for this year.
For this year, but if he hits this year, they're going to pay him and he'll be back. Feels like Jared Goff has a great chance to be the long-term guy in Detroit now, because They're in the easiest division in the NFC. Well, no, the NFC South's pretty bad too.
Yeah.
But they're in an easy division. They had added up more talent. There's no way. How can he screw this up? I think they're going to make the playoffs.
I think they're going to make the playoffs. I have them winning that division this year because I'm really bought in on the Lions. I don't think that division's going to be that easy. I mean, Minnesota
they're pretty
always
heavy favorites already.
Minnesota always stacks a lot of regular season wins. They were a fraudulent, playoff team, but stacks a lot of regular season wins. And then you love Jordan Love. I'm surprised you would not think that Green Bay has a shot.
Green Bay is so young. I mean, just look at the overall age. They're young at every position.
And so Chicago's also young, but we love everything they did this offseason for the most part. I mean, you love the DJ Moore. They might have overpaid for some linebackers, but...
Right, but I mean, it'd be surprising if Chicago had a winning record. I don't think anyone expects that now.
Well, it depends. Like, what's Justin Fields going to look like in year, 3?
Well, I mean, they were the worst team in the NFL last year, so somebody's got it. Not everybody can have a winning record.
By an eyelash. I mean, they really should have had the number 2 pick. It was really the Texans.
But I don't think, honestly, the Packers and the Bears, if you're looking at teams that are unlikely to be above 500, they're definitely on the list. I think. And then the Vikings, I would have taken a step back. I know people like that they got a receiver because they lost Thielen. Yeah, I think Detroit is a great chance here. If they don't, then they know. But here's one issue, though. If they don't make the playoffs, say they're the 12th pick, next year's crazy quarterback class, I wonder if they would get into that and just ignore the hooker pick.
It's possible. That's what happens with a third rounder. Like,
that's
you're not committed. It's like Malik Willis with Tennessee. Like, it didn't stop them from taking Will Levis in the second round this year.
Yeah, and the Panthers obviously took Matt Corral in the third round last year. Then they took Bryce Young this year.
Right.
The Falcons took Desmond Ridder in the third round last year and shocked everybody by ignoring quarterback altogether.
Yeah, the skill position players, though, they're not ignoring. Just a specific skill, which is quarterback. That's the one they don't want to go for if you're the Falcons.
I'm really curious. The top 4 quarterback teams, Carolina, Bryce Young, they're not going to look at Caleb Williams if they're terrible. Houston, C.J. Stroud, if they're the worst team in the league, they don't have their draft picks.
Nope, they gave it.
So it doesn't matter.
Gave it to Arizona.
Anthony Richardson, Colts. Do you think there's any chance they pull a Josh Rosen, and if they were sitting there with Caleb Williams?
I mean, it just would have to be the most epic disaster.
They almost drafted Will Levis on Friday night.
Do you believe that, by the way?
No.
So that was Jim Irsay, who, take Jim with a whole mine of salt, not even a grain, a bucket. Said that if Richardson wasn't there, they were going to take Levis. Now, the big story from day one was Levis sitting in the green room, never got his name called. The camera's on him the entire time. Does this take a little of the sting out? The fact that the Colts owner came out and said, we were going to take you in the 4th. We think we're going to take you with the 4th pick.
Wait, did he actually say that? Because
he said we probably would have.
Well, he put out on Friday, he's like, should we draft Will Levis in the second round? He asked his fans.
Yeah.
I didn't know that he
I
actually
thought of an owner trolling their own fans. It's a unique thing.
Well, the funny thing is, yes, except that it's Jim Irsay, there was probably 45% chance he was going to actually try to do that.
Did you see that he offered $10,000 and the tickets to a game if you could guess who Mr. Irrelevant was going to be?
Yeah,
I love
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
He likes being a billionaire a little too much. I'm sure it's great to be a billionaire, but you can't just mess with everybody around you.
Here's what he tweeted, by the way. Colts fans, will you take Will Levis at number 2 if you're on the board for the Colts in 4 hours and go Montana Young for the franchise to have 2 superstars? Now, you don't think he ever seriously considered that, right?
No, this is what I'm saying. I think this is someone who likes being rich a little too much, and not for the money, for the power. I can do anything and say anything, and I live basically a consequence-free life. I think that's what Jim Irsay is rubbing in our faces there. Am I reading too much into it?
Well, no. I mean, this is a harmless little tweet. He's done actually some harmful things in the past, and then he's done a lot of recovery things too. So he's a very complicated fellow. But I think those top 3 quarterbacks are safe. But Will Levis, second round, who knows? If Tennessee is bad, they're going to be looking at another long-term. I think after the first round, you're not safe at all.
No, I don't think you're guaranteed anything. And it might be the first round, the top half of the first round.
Yeah, could be, definitely.
If somehow Pittsburgh bottomed out this year, they were never going to do that. But if they had bottomed out, would they have taken a quarterback, even though they took Pickett 20 last year?
That's a really juicy one. What if they bottom out this year?
They're not going to. I like their draft, by the way. I thought the Steelers had a good draft. Looks like everyone likes this offensive tackle. You get, Broderick Jones out of Georgia. Kenny Pickett had 2 concussions last year. Getting some offensive line, we talk about 2 a lot with 3, but Pickett had 2.
Where are they even in that division?
Well, a little bit better. They got Joey Porter, too. Actually, great moment if we could play the Steelers with Nick Herbig getting drafted. His brother Nate plays for the Steelers.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Man, can't wait to be a Steeler. Let's go!
So good. That's an awesome moment.
I feel like the Steelers are all coaching and spirit. I just don't think they're I don't think they're a talented team. They have to fall off at some point. Are you sure this Pickett thing's going to work? Look at that division. You have Lamar back, and now he's got a receiving core. You have the Bengals, are arguably the second best team in the conference, and then you have the Browns with Deshaun. Who knows? I'm just saying it might not go as well despite all this enthusiasm.
I think the Steelers, they just don't have seasons with losing records.
Well, I know.
I don't know if that's going to help you make the playoffs necessarily in the AFC, but I think they're not going to be a walkover, that's for sure. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. I think Steeler fans are most concerned that they kept their offensive coordinator, Matt Canada. I don't think he's a very popular guy considering they never score points. 855-212-4227. You're welcome to weigh in on the draft. Got a lot more for you, including coming up next. One superstar quarterback hitting the town this weekend. Get to that in just a moment. Don't move. You're listening to Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. Minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
On Maggie and Perloff. Funny thing happened on draft night. We were discussing what's the best division in the AFC. Should be an easy answer, right?
Well, it was on paper the AFC West last year, but I think West. It's the AFC East now.
Yeah, but look at the AFC North has all of a sudden added a lot of talent. So you have three of probably the three best divisions in the entire NFL. The only reason I bring that up is because we're talking about the Steelers. Last segment, they could end up being a good team who's in the numbers crunch. Same thing could happen to a lot of really good teams in the AFC. You only get a certain amount of playoff teams. So I know the Steelers had a great draft yesterday, but I don't know. You're really going to need a lot of ammunition in that division.
855-212-4CBS. Andrew's in Pittsburgh, wants to talk about it. What's up, Andrew? How are you?
Good. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great. What'd you think about your team's draft?
Personally, I loved it. And one thing about the Steelers is that they're like you said, they're coaching with spirit, and our players we have a lot of siblings. The Hayward brothers, they're hustle guys from day one. You got the Watt brothers. I don't know if they're going to bring the other one back this year. And then we have the Herbig brothers. But they got, if you look at Jalen Warren in the backfield, he's a hustle guy, and every time he's on the field, he pushes Nagy to play harder. So they got a lot of hardworking guys. We beefed up our offensive line with the tight end. We got a big target in the red zone now, which Pickett seemed to struggle with a little bit last year.
Andrew, let's stop on that for a second because we didn't mention it last segment with Darnell Washington, who is the tight end out of Georgia. Shockingly, the Eagles didn't take him. I guess the Eagles are only taking guys. I was going to say on the defensive side, but they traded for Swift, who's a running back out of Georgia. But Darnell Washington was someone who was mocked first round, fell all the way to the third. Perloff.
But his knees are apparently really, really bad.
Suspect.
But that's why he fell to the third. But we lost here. Oh, Andrew, Wait, who else has got you so excited here about this draft? Is it enough manpower in that really tough conference, tough division?
Well, the tight end from Georgia is pretty much a glorified offensive lineman. So they're protecting Pickett.
Yep.
And like I said, that also gives them a massive red zone target. So we're pretty excited. It was a good draft.
Andrew, I understand why you'd be excited. Thank you so much for the call. And not only that, not that they're in the same division, but they are in the same conference because Bill Belichick is the Machiavellian mastermind that he is. Mm-hmm. Traded with the Steelers to block the Jets from getting offensive lineman Broderick Jones, who most people believe the Jets liked a lot and was going to help a little insurance policy from Mekhi Becton on the left side and to help Aaron Rodgers remain upright. And what did the Patriots do? Put that pick up for sale, and then here come the Steelers. They took the offensive lineman that the Jets wanted.
Okay. Do you realize the odds of that being actually what happened inside the Patriots room? Only in the sense that the
100%.
No. The Patriots, you have no idea. The Patriots are probably scouting a South Dakota State punter at that spot. We have no idea why they do what they do and what they do. In fact, this was such an unusual draft because they actually took somebody who was in everyone's mock draft, kind of where they got him, in Christian Gonzalez.
Yes, right. Top corner.
I honestly don't. I totally understand what you're saying. It would have been a Machiavelli move, but I don't think the Patriots do things that we can tell. I think they're
how much more evidence do you need? Belichick hates the Jets. He hates the Jets. He would totally do this to spite the Jets.
And the other thing too is the Jets. We sure they were taking that tackle?
Why, you got intel?
Well, no. Dane Brugler said they like Jamar Gibbs there, the running back out of Alabama. But I'm just thinking, too, I just don't think they're wildly unpredictable. Their Will McDonald pick was the most unpredictable pick of the Jack Campbell and Will McDonald were the two picks where I was like, what?
Yeah, a little bit too high. Let's get to it. Speaking of the Jets.
What the is Aaron Rodgers up to today?
Haven't done this one in a while, Perloff. It was an exciting weekend for Aaron Rodgers. 2 trips to Madison Square Garden. All right. RELAX. We get it. We're going to like you. Don't worry. He goes to the Ranger game on Friday night, Perloff. Rangers Devils. That was game 6. And then, was that Saturday night? Must have been Saturday night. And then Sunday for a 1 o'clock tip-off. That's a quick turnaround. It was like him and the janitors were the only people back for that double dip. 1 o'clock Knicks Heat. And he's sitting courtside.
Nice. I mean, the Bucks were probably feeling kind of hurt because he used to come to so many of their games.
Yeah, the Milwaukee Bucks.
But it sure seems like he likes being in New York to me.
Yeah. Was out on the practice field today.
Yeah.
For the Jets, Robert Saleh said he's already made his presence felt in Jets in the building.
There you go.
I was wondering, how's he going to get to practice? We got the circus coming to town. We got Disney on Ice. What else is coming to the Garden? Billy Joel.
Well, and we got the Knicks are back tomorrow night. Wonder if he shows up. Is he going to be like Spike Lee? Is he going to be at every Knicks game?
He's now.
I think he will be at this game.
Is he sitting on Dolan's lap? I mean, what's going on here?
Don't be a freaking weirdo.
This guy, it's like, all right, we get it. You're excited to be here. Rangers and Knicks, don't worry. The Jets fans are going to love you anyway. You don't have to go and show yourself at all these New York things just to show you're fitting in. Like, they love you. Don't worry.
Yeah, I mean, it can't hurt. I think he goes to all the NBA games, right? That's like his thing. So
I thought he was a minority owner in the Bucks.
Yeah, right. I assume that's okay. Right. So he's cheating on the Bucks, or is he still?
I mean, well, the Bucks have been eliminated, so maybe his new team is the Knicks.
There you go. Yeah, I like it. I'd be excited. Who cares? You're a Jets fan. This is the best. I mean, sure, they got Will McDonald or whatever his name is that nobody else wanted in the first round. But so what? You're on a high for the Jets until the actual season starts.
I thought it was interesting. Rodgers, very front and center at the Garden.
Yeah. By the way, the Steelers, that guy, he missed 2 sets of Steelers brothers.
There's 2 more?
So TJ and Derek Watt. Did he say Terrell and Trey Edmonds, Cam and Connor Hayward, Carlos and Cleo Davis, and then they have now the 2 Urbics. They have 5 sets of brothers.
Are we sure the Edmondses are still on the same team?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
This is 2022. Following the 22 draft, they have 4 sets of brothers. So that was last year. Plus, they had a Pouncey twin, but they never had both Pouncey twins.
No, and now they had a father-son with Joey Porter and Joey Porter Jr.
So there's definitely something going on there.
Can you not get a job unless you're related to somebody at the Steelers? I feel like that violates some kind of labor law.
I guess the Cowboys, their scout Chris Vaughn drafting Deuce Vaughn. I thought that was the most familial thing.
No way.
The Steelers are all in. That's really weird. Is that a good policy?
I think so. I think brothers, especially professional athlete brothers, but you don't have to be. I think you guys push each other. My older brother pushes me to be a better person, right?
I don't know. My brothers don't push me. That's not the kind of thing we have.
No, not that.
I'm an only child, so I don't know what that's like.
That makes sense.
So.
No, I'm just Carlos,
3 brothers, and none of them push me to do anything.
Yeah.
Carlos today showed up. Quite the fashion statement he made.
What was that?
Well, last week I kind of got on my high horse about the guy who was wearing Crocs.
Oh, yeah.
Carlos was wearing his, what do you even call those? They're not Yeezys. They are Yeezys? Yeezy Sandals.
They're the Yeezy foam runners.
Yeah, I thought you tried to sell those.
No, I was getting rid of my other sneakers, but these I only put on because I'm a man of my word. I said the next time I would be here, I would wear it for Maggie, and here I am.
I got to be honest, though. They don't look the same as Crocs. They look... they still look kind of outrageous.
They were like Croc-adjacent.
Yeah,
they're in the same sphere, but they're not actually Crocs.
Croc-adjacent.
How much do those run? It's like $75 for new ones, right? Or 100 or something?
Yeah, it's like $80, but you wouldn't believe how much people would spend on these at its peak. Right. They were going for like hundreds of dollars, and they're just foam. It's nothing
I'm
crazy.
going to be honest. You spend hundreds of dollars on those?
No. Okay. I wouldn't. And if it's $1 more than what it's retailed at, I won't touch it.
No, I saw the Yeezys were up to like the Crocs were $500 and all over the place. They were hard to get.
That's crazy.
Now they're easy for some reason.
It's a foam material. That's like the bathing suit industry. They got us all over a barrel. Bikinis cost more than my jeans. How is that possible?
Bikinis?
Yeah, they're covering up way less body, and yet they cost me more. It's all backwards, guys. We are all getting played here.
Where do you buy bikinis?
Join me in our revolt against the swimwear industry.
No, that's not going to happen.
I know, because only half the population would join me.
Wait, where do you
the men
buy
aren't joining me.
Where do you buy bathing suits? Because we took the kids to Target to buy bathing suits. They weren't that bad.
They sell them at Target. Some bathing suits are like $80. Some bikinis are like $150.
What?
Yeah, I know. Well, that's what I think about the Yeezy.
No idea they were that much.
Foam.
Yeah, we have no idea. No clue. How much are women's jeans? I couldn't tell you within $50.
Well, there's a range. It's a wide range. What do you want the truth? I mean, you can get a pair of women's jeans for like probably $20 or $30 if you go to like Old Navy or something. But if you really want to splurge, I mean, I can turn you on to a $500 pair of women's jeans.
Oof. What do you guys think of how much Lululemon costs?
I think it's ridiculous.
Absolutely ridiculous.
It's athleisure. And
I'm all in.
is that right, Ackerman?
Wow. Absolutely.
You're a Lululemon guy?
Oh, yeah. Huge.
Huh. What do you like about it?
The quality is incredible. Wears well. It'll last you for the rest of your life.
Do you know that?
And I think I've known people that have had issues with like pants or something, and after a couple of years, and they took them back.
After a couple of years, they returned them.
Yeah,
I'd be too embarrassed to do that. I bought these in 2016.
Them, but I guess they exchanged.
Oh, I do that with boots sometimes.
Yeah,
like Timberland boots. You can return them. No, I'm wearing Lululemon pants, by the way.
Are you?
Yeah, I'll throw them up here.
Wait, so you asked about them and you're wearing them?
Well, they must have been on my mind. Yeah. They are very comfortable. But
he was looking for positive reinforcement.
They're very expensive, though, so I can only afford one pair.
Yeah, you'll wash them and like they're ready. They're like almost ready to wear out of the washing machine.
Is this the performance pants you were talking about?
No, these are like the slacks. Yeah. Like our buddy Sully, who calls in all the time. He has 9 pairs of. They're like not sweatpants and they're not pants. They're in between.
God, you guys
they're
have been
amazing.
so good.
These things.
No, these are like closer to. These are like their khakis or their slacks.
I have like 4 pairs of those.
Do you realize, men, Carlos is wearing slippers today.
Yeah.
You got no buttons or zippers on your pants. I mean, you guys are just on easy street. I'm trying to buy a $150 bikini.
These cost $100 though.
That's not nothing.
It's not nothing. No, and now every time I watch ESPN, there's some faux Lululemon ad on.
Yes,
some sort of alpha
Tom Brady is doing the faux Lululemon stuff.
He's trying to get TB12 to be like Lululemon.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, so Met Gala coming up. Giselle's going to be there solo. Is she still? Are we still talking about her if she's not married to Tom? Do we have to let her go now?
No.
She's not in our stratosphere anymore, Carlos, right? She's gone.
I'm good.
Yeah. I think we're over with. I think our time with Giselle has come to an end.
Much like we were talking about, it's all about legacy here.
Yeah.
So
with Steph Curry and LeBron,
Steph Curry, basically, he's better off if Kevin Durant can never win one without him.
Yeah.
Then that makes Steph Curry's legacy even better. So basically, Tom Brady's legacy will be defined by Giselle's next boyfriend. So if he's an excellent guy, that'll make Brady look good. If he's some loser, that'll make Brady look bad.
Wait a minute. Why wouldn't it just make her look good or her look bad? It's going to make Brady look good?
Oh, yeah. You are defined by who your ex is dating. Because basically, that says so much about you, right?
What
Say your
if she started dating like Gronk?
then that would make Brady look like an idiot.
But what if she wants to go like opposite after? It's like, you fire the head coach who's the disciplinarian, you bring in the players coach, and then you bring in the disciplinarian.
So who's the opposite of Brady?
Just
someone with no rings.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say the opposite of Brady is probably like Pete Davidson or something.
I was going to say an accountant,
I was going to say a quarterback who had great promise but could never get over the hump and win a Super Bowl. Dan Marino. I don't know.
Gisele's not dating Dan Marino. She's half his age.
You guys don't think it's important who your ex ends up dating? It's really important. You never think about that?
I never thought about that.
I am 1,000% with Perloff. I am constantly measuring myself up to that just to see.
Yeah.
Just to see, like, I want whoever it is to just be worse than me because it boosts up my status and credibility.
Interesting.
Yeah. Do you remember?
Like she peaked with you.
Exactly.
Right.
Do you remember, I mean,
this is some wild math you guys are doing here.
Do you remember the
post-breakup calculations? I think this must be the new math or something.
Remember the Seinfeld when George borrowed a picture of Jerry's girlfriend who was a model and took it around and pretended that was his ex-girlfriend, and he got all these dates off of it. It's this is a game, Maggie. You can learn how to play by experts like me and Ack.
Wow, jeez.
I wrote the book and it's a very thin one.
Well, let me just get down to my nearest Lululemon and I can be on par with you guys.
Absolutely, we'll make a field trip together. I'll show you the light on that one.
Thank you, Ack. Ack and I are going shopping together. Everybody, you want to come?
Maggie, what do you think of this one here? Is this one?
How do I look at this one? Chip is in Milwaukee. He's got a life hack for us. What's up, Chip?
Okay, I got a little nugget for you guys.
Okay.
So if you go to Target, you can look on their website and they'll show you what brands. You have to get Target brand. It does not matter what condition it is in. You return it, they give you the full amount back, or they give you the full amount in store credit. Because what they do is they donate it afterwards.
Wait, you got to have the tags on, though, right?
No.
What?
You got to keep your receipt.
Okay, keep the receipt. Yeah.
And then you can get brand new clothes for your kids every single year.
Except for the ethics of this.
No, because they're giving it to charity. So it's a moral. It all works out.
No, you're basically committing fraud.
No, but the clothes are going to charity.
It doesn't
matter.
matter.
It's like you're buying. It's like basically you're donating the clothes to charity.
But you're ripping off Target, though.
They can afford it.
No, it's Target's choice.
That's true. Wait. Target doesn't have to have this policy.
Target's policy is not you can wear it for a year and then return it. And
I think Chip's saying that's what the policy is.
Is that the policy? Or is it they saying you can return it no matter what the condition?
No matter what the condition.
Chip, you gave us a lot to think about here, pal. Thank you so much for the call.
I don't want to do it if you're kind of ripping off Target.
No, that's not okay.
But I think I don't think the spirit of Target's rule is that your kids wear them for a year, outgrow them, and you return them.
Well,
I used to be a manager at Target. That would not fly.
You wouldn't do that.
No, you get store credit all the time. Keep the money in the system.
Yeah. Smart.
But that being said, I mean,
it's really hard to get money back.
Are they saying without saying, hey, you can wear this and then return it, just like, because I don't even think they're saying that.
By the way, we're skipping over the most impressive part of this thing. You're keeping a receipt for a year.
That's tough to do.
Bless you.
That's probably why they're giving it to you. I'm like, you know what? No one's ever going to keep a receipt. They throw it out as soon as they got to walk out of the store.
No chance I'm keeping a receipt.
Wait, I don't even know. I just looked at the return policy. We're happy to accept returns for a full refund within 90 days on most items, an extra 30 days if you paid with the red card. So what's going on here? I need some Chip. Right. Well, maybe it's local Targets where Chip is, but I don't know if this is all true.
We got to do a little more research. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. The quarterback move that no one saw coming. Will it work? We'll get to the bottom of that in just a moment after this CBS Sports Update with Rich Ackerman.
Sports Flash.
One second-round series begins. Another continues in the NBA tonight with the Sixers and Celtics renewing their rivalry in Boston. Joel Embiid doubtful with a sprained knee, while the Sixers held up without him in their previous game when they finished off the Nets. The Nuggets took the opener from the Suns and looked to go up 2-0 before heading to Phoenix. Jamal Murray led the way Saturday with 34, while Kevin Durant was held to 29 and said they weren't caught off guard by how good Denver was.
They're number one seed for a reason. They got a two-time MVP. They got a deep team. No, I'm not surprised. They can go off and win games. So we got our work cut out for us. We're looking forward to game 2, though.
There's another Game 7 in the NHL tonight. The Devils host the Rangers with a winner moving on to face the Carolina Hurricanes. The road team won both of last night's deciding games. The Calgary Flames fired head coach Darryl Sutter after 3 seasons in which they missed the playoffs twice. Baseball today, first of 2 at Citi Field. It was the Braves over the Mets 9-8. Sean Murphy homered twice in this one, and Ronald Acuna hit one 448 feet to the third deck in left field at Citi Field. I'm Rich Ackham.
Looking for CBS Sports Radio online? Your favorite hosts and the best sports content and entertainment are available 24/7 on social media and YouTube, and in the palm of your hand with the free Odyssey app.
CBS Sports Radio.
'You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. Minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Question of the day is brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Today's question comes from Bill in Worcester. Was the Boston Bruins loss the worst collapse in Boston sports history? Don't forget, you can submit a question by going to cbssportsradio.com/askthepros or tweeting it at CBS Sports Radio using the hashtag #AskThePros. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. If you are someone who revels in the pain of Boston sports fans, well, yesterday was a good day.
Right circle, Verhaeghe shoots, he scores! Carter Verhaeghe in the right circle, able to sneak it inside the near post. The Florida Panthers victorious in overtime, 4-3 over the Boston Bruins. And for the Boston Bruins, after a record-breaking regular season in the National Hockey League, their playoffs come to a close 7 weeks short of the only goal that mattered to them.
Clearly, that was Boston radio. That was not the celebratory going crazy. That was rough to watch last night, Perloff. And after the Bruins won the President's Trophy, again, a record-setting, as you heard of the highlight, regular season, they had a 3-1 lead over the Florida Panthers. The Panthers, by the way, didn't even qualify for the playoffs until the 81st game of an 82-game season.
So the Bruins become the 7th team to win the President's Trophy and then go out in the first round since 2000. So, which leads me to believe hockey is insane.
Yeah,
the fact
that was your first.
The last one was 2019 Tampa Bay Lightning went out in the first round. And, oh my God, well, the Lightning. So basically, you have no insurance. If you're the number 1 seed, it doesn't mean anything against 8 seed. The last team to win the President's Trophy, to win it all, was in 2013, the Chicago Blackhawks. The question is this like an all-time Boston collapse?
I mean, you have 86.
Bill Buckner, obviously.
Yeah, the 86 Red Sox. Yeah. You also had the 78 Red Sox. That was the Boston Massacre, where the Yankees chased them down.
Oh, Bucky Dent.
In 1978. I believe it was 78, right? Yeah.
I think the David Tyree catch, too, because that team was undefeated.
Man,
those are way more historic because, yeah, the way they lost last night was terrible, having the lead late. But I don't think the fact that this is a sport where 1-8 is not that significant a difference. It's the reality of it. I don't think there's anywhere near those. Yeah. Those are historic collapses.
No, but this is historic because there was a difference. The Bruins were the best team regular season in the history of the league.
Yeah, but the funny thing, the teams that they had beaten, like all the other ones that were close, all also had no playoff success. It wasn't everyone knew coming in that this didn't guarantee anything. I don't know why. It's just the way hockey is.
I think maybe you might be right about the Patriots. I mean, in the Super Bowl with the undefeated season on the line, the Giants were an out of nowhere 9-7 team that really didn't have a business being in the Super Bowl that year. They were just on a heater.
Yeah, the other thing, too, this is the first round, which is bad.
It's bad.
But it would have been way worse. If this happened in the finals, if they were leading with a minute left and lost.
It's always one of those great debates. Like, is it worse to lose in the finals or is it worse to lose in the first round?
Game 7 in the finals would have been so horrible for a Bruins fan.
But at least you make it to the finals. Like, this is the first round. You're losing to the Florida Panthers, who are a fine team, a good team. But, again, they were barely a playoff team all season long.
It's hockey, right? I mean, how many, Stu, you probably know more hockey than us. How many 8 seeds have won? I know the Kings definitely did it several years ago. It's not like basketball where...
No, I know. It's a lot more fluky than that.
Yeah, it's a lot of fluky. So I don't think this even counts. It's bad. But then again, coming into this, was everyone like, the Bruins are going to win it all? They're not even, no offense, my guy Sully has even told me this.
Yeah.
They're not that much more talented than anyone else. They just seem to put it together at the right time. So, anyway, I was rooting for him.
Quickly, let's go to Phil. Well, Phil is in Pennsylvania. Phil, you got about 30 seconds, bud.
You got it. Boston had a 3-0 lead on the Flyers. They gave it up. Flyers tied it, and even in Game 7, they were ahead 3-0, and the Flyers came back and won 4-3 in series and in the game.
Oh.
When was that?
That was when the Flyers lost to Chicago in
like 2009
in the Cup Finals.
Or no, like Lindros. Yeah, I was there.
No, it was more recent than that.
Oh, okay.
Ouch. Man, Phil, thank you. Good to hear from you, Bal.
You know, the Celtics one that comes to mind felt like they should have, after they won the first one, weren't they in it and they just barely, did they lose to the Ray Allen shot, or they have a terrible loss in the late 2000s?
The Spurs lost in the Ray Allen shot.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
They lost to somebody they should not have lost to in that series. Yeah, this is nothing. This is easy. They'll be back next year, Maggie.
We're back in just moments. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
I think this show is like the backup quarterback of the sports media industry. We're all moxie. We're all grit. We just want it.
Come on. We're high picks here. We just have a lunch pail mentality around
No. You're not getting it. You need a chip on your shoulder. You need to be an undersized, underdrafted backup quarterback, and we're going to show that they're wrong about it.
I got the undersized part up.
Yeah, we got the shortest producer in the game. We have Kyler Murray over there. We have Stu, who's got, right now, the worst collection of teams to root for in the history of sports.
It is dark, yeah.
We have me, who is born to hold a clipboard, Maggie. And you haven't won a Super Bowl your whole life. You don't even know what it tastes like.
How did you just nail that? Crap. Just the Moxie Squad.
The Moxie Squad. Is that our new nickname?
We do have a lot of Moxie. All right, we're the backup quarterback show. There, it's settled.
They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
What up, what up? So much to get to from what was a wild weekend, including the Golden State Warriors winning in an extremely impressive fashion on the road against the very lovable and upstart Sacramento Kings. Great season for the Kings. I'm sure there'll be many beams lit in the future, Perloff, but this day belonged to Steph Curry. 50 points. He broke an NBA record. No one has ever had 50 points in a Game 7 in the history of the league. That now belongs to Curry, and we get the matchup we all wanted, Curry versus LeBron.
Yeah, isn't it funny? The record he beat was Kevin Durant from a couple of years
48.
ago when he lost because his toenail was on the three-point line. Have 7 games not been around a lot? How come there are not more high-scoring 7? I was shocked that there's never been more than 50, but it was pretty incredible to watch. You could tell from the moment he stepped on the court, hit 2 threes in the first quarter, he was not going to be denied. My question is, can the Lakers do anything about this? Knowing that it's really only one guy can beat them, and when he comes off the court, they're so terrible. DiVincenzo forgot how to play basketball. Basically, the Warriors are just have no bench at all, and the Lakers now have
moments. It's just
not really
in the way the Lakers role players have. And listen, there's been a couple no-show games from the Lakers role players against Memphis, but for the most part, the starter/bench guys for the Lakers have been more productive, which is crazy to say because Klay Thompson is like an all-time great player.
Well, it's just without Curry, I think there's no confidence there. The second Curry comes off, there's just how many minutes until he gets back on and he can stay in the game. So Game 7, it's great. He can stay on most of the game and wear himself down. Is he going to be tired? That's the other question. What do you think? Because I think he only runs 3-point to 3-point line, so it gives him a little advantage.
I mean, he was everywhere yesterday. I mean, the trainers have always said, and listen, this is the trainers for Gold State and Curry's trainer. He's one of the strongest guys in the NBA.
Oh, get out of here.
I'm telling you.
Show me a quote from a trainer saying he's the strongest guy in the NFL. That is
not the NFL.
The NBA.
No.
Right.
The NBA. The NFL, he's
Steph Curry's the strongest what?
He's solid. He's strong.
What?
Well, it's not he doesn't look like Karl Malone, but you don't ever. It's funny because I've been arguing for LeBron James in terms of the legacy part of the Steph LeBron conversation, but you disrespect Curry so much. You say he has a lack of athleticism.
Definitely.
You don't think he's strong. That's crazy.
Well, I mean, strong. Yeah, he's strong compared to the 4 of us right here, but do you think he's strong for an NBA player? Strong how?
Well, I think there's
you ever
something
see when
about
somebody big gets put on Steph, they just back him right down.
I know, and he doesn't play a lot of defense, but the thing is it's his motor. It just never stops. You have to be in such not just peak physical condition, which is their job, but we know not everyone is like that. it's like he's got an extra gear that other guys on the floor don't have.
That feels more like endurance to me, which is actually the opposite of athleticism.
I think it takes a certain type of strength.
Okay.
You don't think marathon runners are strong?
No, they're the best exercisers. They're not the best, strongest people.
You know what? I'm going to let you handle
that. Actually, I stole that from Eastbound and Down.
Such
Obviously.
a good line.
Yeah, but no. I definitely think athleticism is running and jumping and being faster than people and dunking on people. That's what I call athleticism.
Okay, well, the running part, Steph definitely has.
Running,
he doesn't dunk, but that's not the only sign of the athleticism.
Right, yeah, but running long distances is not the athleticism. Quickness, and he is very quick, but he's not superiorly. I mean, I think Fox is quicker than he is.
Well, he's also 10 years younger.
I think at his peak, Fox was fast, way faster than him. Curry's not fast. He's just crafty.
Okay, but that's part of it, too. Just because you're crafty doesn't mean you're not athletic.
Yes, it does. That's what you ever say, wow, did you see him dunk on his head? That was crafty. No, that was athletic. Crafty means you're not athletic and you figure out ways to score. Like Steph with the little, you don't have to put that kind of spin on the ball if you're LeBron James.
I think that you have a narrow view of athleticism.
Yes.
We're more inclusive these days now, Perloff. You know, everyone's athletic. Everyone gets a trophy.
So if that's the case, then Steph Curry is no more athletic than any other player.
I think that what you're watching with Curry is clearly different. Of course, it's the shooting, the fact that he can pull up from anywhere, but it's more than that. It's like this is what separates him. This is why I don't think he's in the conversation with LeBron, but this is why we even have this debate, is because if he was just a great shooter and didn't have the other special stuff, then we'd be talking about Ray Allen. We never talked about Ray Allen as one of the all-time great players. We talked about him as a great shooter. There's a case to be made that Curry's an all-time great player. I think he falls short on the defensive side and some other things, but he's obviously more than just a shooter.
Right. He's developed into a great dribbler. Unbelievable. He's also another thing that helps him, and this kind of hurts my argument that he could take over LeBron. He is in a great system, and he loves his teammates, and he plays. They pass the ball very well. They all
unselfish.
They all bring out each other's strengths. And Draymond fits so well with Steph Curry. I'll admit, without Draymond, Steph might not be able to do all the things that he does. He has a lot of help. Now, the thing that's so interesting to me is he's getting no help in this year's playoffs. He really is going to have to do this on his own. Unless Clay finds some sort of fountain of youth, it's going to be
Wiggins.
bad.
I mean, Wiggins was huge in the finals last year.
But Wiggins, missed all that time and came back. Have we ever really figured out what it was?
It was a personal thing. I think his dad was sick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, he's athletic, by the way.
Well, yeah, he's a former number 1 overall pick in the draft. It's not like he came out of nowhere.
And Gary Payton's very athletic and not very skilled. That's the interesting thing. He missed a couple layups last night. It
wasn't great.
But a great defender.
That's true.
So you get these guys around Curry that lets him do what he wants to do.
And Kevon Looney was excellent last night in the paint. 21 rebounds, 10 on the offensive side. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Paul is in Portland. He's got a thought on Curry's strength. What's up, Paul?
Yeah, there's an article in ESPN that came out during the year about, it's called The Secret Strength of Steph Curry and the Warriors. And the main interviewee is the strength coach for Golden State. And he just says in so many ways how Steph is really strong and he works out all the time.
Yep.
He works other people into the ground. So when Perloff started saying that, I got all upset and everything. But it's right there in black and white in ESPN. You can look it up or click on it from the chat.
Paul, thanks so much. And see you in the chat. YouTube.com, Paul Zawito. YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio is where you can find the chat. And I heard a podcast with his trainer once was talking about guys come in to train with Curry and they leave like crawling out of the gym. They just cannot hang at all.
Feels like a lot of people really spending a lot of time trying to tell me how strong Steph Curry is, which makes me believe one thing and one thing only.
Not that strong?
I'm just looking at pictures of him from yesterday. I mean, he's a twerp. He is half the size of these other NBA players.
He's 6'2".
He's not. You guys are making him out like he's Anthony Mason. I mean, come on.
No,
what
it's
are
not
you
that. But
looking at?
he's also not Nate Robinson. Like it's not like
Nate Robinson is twice the physical. He's 4 times the muscles of Steph Curry.
No, and Nate Robinson's amazing athlete.
Yeah, and he was
Dunk contest
NFL
winner.
safety. Could have been.
But I'm just talking about the fact that Nate Robinson was like 5'8".
No, Steph's a little taller. You're right. In real life, Steph has got height, but he's definitely not got NBA professional athlete strength. He's got endurance.
Mark is in Miami. Mark, I thought you'd call today to gloat about your Heat taking Game 1 from the Knicks.
Oh, no doubt I will about that, but I just want to talk about first this ridiculous take by Perloff saying that Curry's not a great athlete. He's absolutely an all-time great. To me, he's not on LeBron's level. He's probably a top 10 player. He's the greatest shooter of all time, but a lot of things that get overlooked when people just talk about his shooting. He's one of the greatest ball handlers of all time. He's a great passer, and he's just a great playmaker. He can take people off the dribble, and you're talking about his size. He's a lot bigger than Iverson and Isaiah Thomas, 2 fellow all-time greats who were built in the mold of him. So I don't know where he's coming up with this take. I think he's doing one of his hot takes again. As far as
No.
This series,
Mark, he believes it. We've had this conversation off the air, like at dinner and stuff. Perloff believes that Steph Curry's not athletic, and he believes that golfing is like that Tiger Woods is not a great athlete.
Wait. But wait, Mark, I think Steph, I'm the one who's arguing Steph is going to pass LeBron. So don't tell me that I've cornered a long time ago the in love with Steph Curry's game thing.
You just don't think he's an athlete.
I don't think he is like what we define athlete as strength and running a bit and jumping. And, when you say this guy's got athletic traits, you're not talking about the things that Steph Curry does. We just came off the draft. A guy who's an athlete is known because he's got a fast 40 and a lot of bench press. That's what I'm getting at, Mark. And I could be wrong, but I don't think Steph Curry's known for that kind of stuff.
I understand that, but he's never going to accomplish what LeBron has. LeBron is A1 next to Jordan. As far as the series, I'm going to go. I think the Lakers, the size and ability with the new depth here with Austin Reeves, I think they win in 6. As far as my Heat goes, what do you guys think, man? Game 1, incredible. Jimmy, I hope he's okay, but playoff Jimmy was incredible. I love the way Spoelstra made adjustments in the second half to shut down the Knicks. I had the Knicks winning 6. I'm going to stick with that prediction.
Wow.
What are your thoughts on this series? Thanks for the time.
Yeah, Mark, appreciate you. I mean, the Heat, that was a masterclass yesterday. I mean, I know the Knicks didn't have Julius Randle, but your best player, maybe the best player in the whole series, Jimmy Butler, sprains his ankle with 5.5 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter in a game that's contested at the time. And how do the Knicks not win that game? Like, the Heat slowed it down. They played every possession like molasses. I mean, it was so smart, and they were playing 4-on-5, and they still won.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a reminder. Certain guys win, and Kyle Lowry is definitely one of those guys. So I don't know. I just think I watched a lot of the Heat Cavs series. The Cavs Knicks.
Yeah.
The Heat are such a different team. They're so more accomplished than the Knicks. Like, I feel like the Knicks aren't ready to win this series. Does that make sense? Because a lot of these young guys have not done it yet.
Yeah, no. Listen, that Jalen Brunson though is a guy who has played in the playoffs. With the run with Dallas last year, the Western Conference Finals, and he was not good yesterday. So they need a bounce back from him, and they need Randle to come back. But the Heat were impressive. I mean, literally, they were playing 4-on-5 for 5.5 minutes of a playoff game and won by like easily.
Yeah, I don't. But Mark said the Knicks in 6, right?
Yeah.
I'm surprised that Mark would say that.
I would say this. I think Miami has the 2 best players in the series, in Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo, but the Knicks probably have a better team. They're a pretty deep team. Let's go to Stuart, who's in North Carolina's got a thought on Steph Curry. What's up, Stuart?
Hi, guys. Great show, as always.
Appreciate you.
And I'll preface it by saying I'm not a big Steph Curry fan. I mean, I'm a Cavs fan, so all those series I was rooting against Steph Curry.
Yeah.
But I think Steph Curry is way underrated, and I'll tell you my opinion of why. If you're just looking at his accomplishments, you're going to say, yeah, it's Jordan, it's LeBron in some order, it's Kareem, and somewhere in the conversation of 5 to 10 or 15, you may bring up Curry. But here's why I think he's way underrated, is how many players could you say changed the game of basketball? I think Steph Curry's the greatest shooter in the history of the world, and I don't think it's close. And he changed the game because he got all those little boys to start shooting three-pointers. And you can't say that about many players. You could count those on one hand. that changed the game.
Stuart, it's a great call. Thanks for making it. I remember when his former coach, Mark Jackson, said that Steph and Clay ruined the game because all the kids now walk into the gym and start, hurling half-court shots.
Well, Mark Jackson, as coach, was one of the few people who could stop Steph Curry from scoring a lot of points. Wait, Maggie, are you starting to come around that maybe Steph Curry can someday pass LeBron on the all-time list?
No. No, I'm not.
Sure sounds like you're into Steph.
Of course. To say that Steph's underrated, I appreciate the call from Stuart. It's a great point about him being transcendent and changing the game. But I don't think Steph Curry's underrated.
He is very highly rated.
I think he's super high rated.
Okay, if he's not, I know we don't have a ton of time to dive into this, but if he's not 2, say he can't pass LeBron, how high can he get on the list? I think he was 10 when ESPN put out their 100 list about 2 years ago.
I think it's inside the top 10.
But not really not Mount Rushmore 4.
I think it's going to be hard. I think it's going to be hard. Past Kareem?
I don't know.
Past Magic?
Yeah, but Kareem and Magic did it together.
Bird? I mean, you want to put Bill Russell in there? You want to put Wilt there? I don't know. It's a different time.
It's so hard to compare these guys.
Listen, Curry deserves a lot of credit. He does. I don't think he's underrated now. I think he's super rated because not only because of his skill and the change in the game, you mentioned about his impact on young fans. I mean, I think that LeBron's always the face of the league, but Curry's right there as well.
Well, it's interesting. If you were going to pick a player in today's game, I think you would take Steph Curry over Magic Johnson. Unless Magic, because you need shooting now. It's so important. 3-point shooting is really redefined the game in part because of Curry. But I don't think Magic could shoot well enough to be.
It's one of those things, though, where if Magic was playing in today's game, would he have that shot?
You get into that.
Yes, I think you would. Our buddy Mike in California has brought the Merriam-Webster definition of athleticism to the chat, if you'd like me to read that.
Okay.
It's athletic ability, the combination of qualities such as, but not limited to, speed, strength, and agility that are characteristics of an athlete. Speed, strength, agility. Steph Curry, Steph Curry, Steph Curry. Speed.
Speed compared to other NBA players? Like when he was coming out of Davidson, I would say, wow, that guy's super fast.
Well, not Allen Iverson, but...
I mean, even compared to other guards, I don't know. Is he particularly... If he ran a 40, could he come within a second of the Aaron Fox?
We're going to put Steph Curry through the combine. What's his 3-cone drill?
I would assume that there are a lot of guards who are way faster than Steph Curry. I could be wrong about that, but
strength and agility?
Now, strength, I would assume...
Guard strength. It's not like Ben Wallace, but guard strength.
Say, let's take a random measurement, like bench press at the combine. I would say he's bottom 20%.
Well, so is Kevin Durant, but we think Kevin Durant's a great athlete. And he could bench press 2 times.
But I think he's in the bottom third speed of guards. I could maybe wrong about that, but he's definitely bottom third weightlifting strength.
Okay.
Definitely. And then what's the other one? Agility.
Agility.
What does that mean?
I mean, that's what we were watching.
Vince Carter dunking on Frederick Weiss's head. That's agility.
This is the man who's making the case that he could pass LeBron one day, but you're
it's definitely not because of
giving him demerits on every single category.
For him, it's all mental game. Just like, and kind of LeBron, too, and Larry Bird. It's all just this sheer will to win and also his outside shot. So I think those athletic traits are nice, but that's not what's getting Steph Curry there.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Okay, we turn our attention back to the NFL. Our pal Jim Nagy, the executive director of the Senior Bowl, and former NFL scout for 2 decades, will tell us which draft picks he absolutely loved and which one left him scratching his head. We'll do that in just a moment. You're locked in to Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. Minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. The debate spilled over into the break.
Yep.
Just how athletic is Steph Curry? Maggie, I have the perfect person to answer this.
Okay.
Of course, he's been killing it all spring covering the NFL draft. He's the executive director of the Reese's Senior Bowl. Good friend of the show, former NFL scout Jim Nagy. Jim, before we get to the NFL players.
Wait, do not do anything to sway what Jim might possibly think.
Is Steph Curry athletic in your opinion?
Yeah, incredibly athletic. Who
Thank you, Jim.
Well,
thank you, Jim.
Jim, when we talk about athletic, what are athletic traits? When you're looking at a scout, I mean, you're looking at a player. What's athletic? Like speed, size, strength, those kind of things.
Flexibility, change of direction, short area quickness, long speed. If Steph Curry could probably play corner in the NFL, don't you think?
No, he's slow for an NBA guard, and he's not strong either.
Jim, you're right.
He would come out of the combine with 12 reps of the bench press, and he'd have a 4.8 40. He's Jerry Rice.
He'd figure it out. He'd be a crafty corner. Right. He'd be one of those instinctive guys that just like jumps routes and stuff.
All right. Okay.
Stu said the Raiders could use him.
Yeah. All right, Jim. Let's talk about some
Thank you, Jim, for bringing some common sense to this conversation. Appreciate that.
So it did seem, I was watching the draft both on the NFL Network and ESPN. I kept hearing the two words, Senior Bowl, Senior Bowl, Senior Bowl. This guy impressed at the Senior Bowl. Who do you think is the player that was drafted over the weekend that really got the most out of being at the Senior Bowl and raised the most in the draft?
Ooh, wow. I mean, the guy that probably made the most money was our first guy taken, and that's Darnell Wright from Tennessee, the tackle that went 10 overall to Chicago. You know, one of the things we fight here is, we get guys committed to come play in the Senior Bowl, and then if they're like fringe first-round picks, like late first, early seconds, their agents will pull them out of it. And to Darnell's agent's credit, he didn't do that. Darnell was getting some mostly second-round love, and he came down here and went 10 overall. I mean, I was talking to his agent the other day. That's like $9 million in signing bonus money.
Wow.
So if we're talking financially, like who helped their bank account the most, it would be Darnell Wright. But, usually we have some small school players that make massive jumps. Like last year, there was a couple guys like Christian Watson, the receiver from the Green Bay Packers, who had a phenomenal second half of his rookie year this year. When we invited him, he was like a fourth or fifth round pick, and he comes down here and has a great week and has a great combine and went 34th overall. So, I mean, he jumped literally about 4 rounds. I don't think we had anyone this year like that. But a guy like Julius Brents, who went, I think, in the 40s, like 40 overall, something like that, to the Colts, a corner from Kansas State. He's another guy, like going into the process, was a fourth or fifth round pick for most teams, and ended up going in the middle of the second round. So for a Power 5 player to jump 2 full rounds in the pre-draft process is a really big jump.
It's fantastic. Jim Nagy is joining us. Jim, you just mentioned the Packers. I wanted to ask you, from all your years as an NFL scout, if you had come to your general manager and said, I got a great guy for you who's going to be a pass rusher. Problem is, he's never started a game. He's got a lot of snaps, like Lucas Van Ness, who the Packers took. How would that go over if you're trying to sell, hey, this guy is worth a first-round grade, but he's never started?
Well, part of being a good scout is putting your attorney hat on and making a case for your players. So, and I've had to do that before. It would be, you would have to have your ducks in a row, that's for sure. But I remember I had something similar to that when Alvin Kamara came out of Tennessee. He was not the starter at Tennessee. He played behind a guy named Jalen Hurd, who actually they moved a wideout a couple of years later, and now he's on the roster. I think he was like a third or fourth round pick to the 49ers a couple of years ago. But that was the question. I had to convince our coaching staff why this guy was not a starter in college. So yes, it's not the easiest thing, because that's the first thing they'll say is how is this guy going to come in and help us and be an impact player as a first round pick, is which what we all expect from a first round pick, if he couldn't even start in Iowa City. So I'm sure there was plenty. That was probably one of the more hotly debated guys in the draft this year.
All right, I have to ask about the Eagles, Jim. They drafted all these Georgia football players. I was telling Maggie earlier, the one thing I worry about is Georgia defenders get less snaps than other teams, as I understand it, because there's so many good ones that they rotate everyone in. And also, there's so many good players around. How can you tell who's really standing out? Do you think the hype is worthy for Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith, who the Eagles got?
Yeah, I understand your concerns there for sure. But again, you got to think about the era of NIL and portal right now too. I mean, you got to keep these guys happy. One, Kirby's got like endless amounts of 5-stars running around there, and you got to get them all snapped. So that's not an easy job that Kirby Smart has. But to answer your question, I mean, I think Jalen is one of the top 2 or 3 most talented guys in the draft. If you're just going off like what's in his body in terms of athleticism, what Steph Curry has loads of.
Yes.
So you got that guy at 9 overall, and you hope you can tap into him. And I know that Howie and those guys feel like they can because of just talking to people in Athens. Jalen Carter really looked up to Jordan Davis, who was last year's first-round pick, and he also looked up quite a bit to Nakobe Dean, who was last year's third-round pick. So you got 2 guys that Jalen Carter really looks up to that can help steer him and show him the way. And then when it comes to Nolan Smith, I thought that was one of the best value picks in the draft. He was our top-rated senior defensive player coming into the year based off his junior tape. And then he got, he had some injuries this year and couldn't play in the Senior Bowl because of the injuries. I actually thought he had a chance to go to Philly when they were picking at 10. If Jalen Carter were off the board, because he's Hassan Reddick-ish, and I think he's going to really benefit from working under Hassan Reddick. So to get him at 30, that might be the best pick in the entire draft.
Jim Nagy is our guest, the executive director of the Reese's Senior Bowl and former NFL scout. Very polarizing draft from a couple teams, Jim, but particularly from the Detroit Lions. Trade back, take a running back with the 12th overall pick in Jahmyr Gibbs, then Jack Campbell, an off-ball linebacker at 18. Rebounded a little, I think, with Sam Laporta, who I think we all really liked. Then Brian Branch in the second round. They obviously took Hendon Hooker in the third, goes on from there. Inside the scouting community, what was the reaction to the Lions draft?
Well, it's one thing to evaluate the player, right? I think that the best teams also have a good sense of where players are going to go, so you don't have to take them higher than you really need to. And again, maybe Brad Holmes and the GM of Detroit and their staff were getting different information, but it seemed like they took a couple guys a little higher than they needed to. And again, that's maybe we weren't talking to the same people they were. The bottom line is they got 4 good football players. Those 4 guys that you mentioned, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jack Campbell, Sam Laporta, Brian Branch, they're all going to have a role as a rookie. Those guys are all going to be contributors right away. But if you like the player, then just make sure you secure the player. So I know a lot of people are beating them up right now. But at the end of the day, if you can walk away with those 4 guys and Hendon Hooker as part of your draft class, you're still feeling pretty good about it.
Jim, we have a lot of Cowboys fans who listen, obviously, like every show. There was one guy they picked in the third round, DeMarvion Overshawn out of Texas. I think it was Riddick was going to jump off the set and just celebrate. I believe, was he a Senior Bowl guy? And tell me about what you think of the Cowboys draft. The Cowboys are quietly a really good drafting team of late.
Yeah, DeMarvion was one of our guys. We've been watching him for a couple of years now. We actually had him committed to come play in the 2022 Senior Bowl. And the people down at Texas, Coach Sark and those guys talked him into coming back for another year. So we've got quite a background with him. We've been watching him for a few years. He's a former safety. He's the instincts part of it was a question, just him locating the football. That's gotten better and better the last couple of years, as you would expect, the more he's played closer to the line of scrimmage. But he's only 218 pounds is what he played in the high 2 teens this year. But he has got serious pop in his body. He explodes on people, and he runs and he hits. And just working with Dan Campbell for all the years I did in Seattle, I know what Dan looks for at linebacker, and he looks for fast dudes that love to run and put their face on people. So DeMarvion totally fits that. Fits what he's looking for there. And then Dallas's overall draft, I liked what they did. And again, there's no way you can avoid them taking Deuce Vaughn. Chris Vaughn. Everyone's seen the video by now. Yeah. His dad, Chris Vaughn, is a friend of mine. He scouts on their scouting in their scouting staff. In that moment when he asked his son, "Hey, do you want to come to work with me?" I got choked up. That's from a dad that I just had a son getting done playing high school football. I can't imagine being at the NFL level, asking my son if he making the call for my son to be a draft pick. I thought that was my favorite moment of the entire draft.
Wait, Jim, didn't that put a lot of pressure on your kids? Listen, Dad, hey, Chris Vaughn just chose his kid. What are you going to do for me?
Let me just say this: my son doesn't have the genes that Chris Vaughn's son does. His dad did not pass down nearly enough in the gene pool for him to sniff the NFL.
Jim Nagy, you're selling yourself short, Jim. Jim Nagy, the executive director of the Reese's Senior Bowl, joining us. All right, Jim, was there a pick or a team where you just thought, head scratching, not really sure what they were thinking here, would have gone in a different direction?
Oh, I hate doing that, Maggie. You put me on the spot. No, I mean, like Jacksonville's draft. Again, they're a good football team, and they've done a nice job the last couple of drafts. So maybe we were off on some guys. We had every team in the league picked one of our Senior Bowl guys. We had 7 teams pick more than 5. We had the Colts and the Rams pick 7 each, and the Jaguars picked 1. So maybe I'm just being a jerk. Maybe I'm being biased. They were the only team that picked one of our guys, but no, they've done a good job. They did a good job last year, and that's why the team bounced back so quick. But no, mostly, I mean, the teams that really stood out, I mean, you brought up the Eagles, Andrew. I mean, I thought they did a really nice job. I thought Pittsburgh had a great draft. I thought Seattle knocked it out of the park for the second straight year. I thought a bunch of teams did a really nice job.
Wait, Jim, sorry, stop on Pittsburgh for a second. What'd you love about the draft? For a regime change, Kevin Colbert was their GM for a long time, and now they're transitioning to Omar Khan. And sometimes that can be difficult when, in a new role. And they just pick good football players. And again, maybe my second favorite pick of the day behind the Deuce Vaughn pick was the Joey Porter Jr. pick. Yep. And again, I think we all knew that was going to happen at the start of day 2, but it's still cool to see kind of that legacy pick. But no, they just stuck to the Steelers' plan, and they do it every year. They just take good football players. They don't overcomplicate it. And it was just cool to see a new GM in place. I thought Omar, sitting in that big chair for the first time, did a really nice job.
All right, Jim, you got to help me out, and I know you can. Thursday night, Maggie is in a state of panic because she's a diehard Buffalo Bills fan, and they did not go defense. But I think they got a star in tight end, Dalton Kincaid. What do you think?
Yeah, so Dalton's a guy that we had Dalton committed to come to the Senior Bowl. I got the unfortunate phone call in January that he wasn't going to be able to come. And this was kind of touch and go with the agents. I knew about it, so they didn't spring anything new on me. He broke his back against Colorado. He had a broken back.
Big deal.
A little bit of a medical thing.
Yeah.
And he stayed in the game and played. I'll say this, and again, a lot of people had the same takeaway with Dalton Kincaid. That game he had against USC when he had the 16 or 17 catches was maybe the best tight end tape I've ever seen for like an individual game. He is if that back's all right, I mean, this guy's going to be really a dynamic player in the passing game for him. Gives him a true mismatch. We've been on him for a couple of years. He's another guy that was eligible a couple of years ago to us. And really a cool story. The guy was a wide receiver at the University of San Diego, where they don't even give scholarships, and then transfers to Utah and makes himself a tight end, and now makes himself a first-round pick. So might have the best hands of anyone in the draft, wide receiver or tight end. I mean, he can really, really catch it. So I like that pick. I mean, him and Dawson Knox at tight end. I mean, that's a nice pair.
All right, you made me feel a little better. I'm still not sold. Yeah, I'm still not sold. It's to take a tight end 2 with your first-round draft when you just gave your tight end $130 million. But I digress. Last one for me, Jim. Listen, no one's going to say it publicly because he's a legend in the game, and who would we be to question him? But Belichick going kicker in the 4th round and punter in the 6th? What's going on there?
Well, he came down to Mobile and saw those guys work together. I mean, you had the punter was the holder for the kicker, so they have instant chemistry on their PAT field goal unit. So you've got that going for you. No, I mean they shored up their special teams. I kind of heard that they were looking at those guys going into the draft, so it didn't surprise me. But it's better than like 4th and 5th. That's not. I mean, if you can get a guy that can come in and kick field goals, I mean that's better. Look at Cincinnati a couple years ago. What's the kid's name at Cincinnati?
Evan McPherson. Yeah.
Yeah, Evan McPherson. I made the point that year a couple years ago when he was a rookie and he made those 2 kicks in the playoffs. He won them 2 playoff games. If he never made another kick in Bengals franchise history, that was worth a 5th-round pick. So, I mean, that's so. Hopefully they got that squared away, and it was cool seeing a couple of Senior Bowl guys. They were buddies down here during the week, so it's cool. They're going to be teammates for a long time.
You know what's going to happen now? What? Now that I called this out, it's going to be Patriots in Buffalo, 0 degrees. And these 2 dudes are going to team up so that one kicks a 50-yarder to beat the Bills. I can see it now.
Chad Ryland's going to hit a game winner in the snow against you.
Thank you. Well, I can't wait.
Hey, Jim, I know you need a break. You've been crazy productive, and you called everything. I followed you during the draft. You would say, "Oh, here comes a run of offensive guards, Maggie," and then off come the offensive guards. But next year, I know you start scouting early. it's going to be crazy quarterbacks next year, right? Because of the COVID year. I can't imagine how many prospects you're looking at right now.
Well, it's funny. You teased my Twitter post for the night. I'm actually going to post a video from our board of all the quarterback tags, and it's so many familiar names, man. It's like all these guys that Sam Hartman from Wake Forest is at a new school. I mean, it was like quarterback musical chairs this offseason, and the hard part for us is like tracking them. Like, where are they going to go? There's just a million guys that end up going back to school. So it's going to be deep. Everyone's talking about Drake May from North Carolina and Caleb Williams from USC up at the top. And Bo Nix is a guy at Oregon we really like. But, man, the rest of it, and to see them all in these new places and new offenses, it's going to be a crazy quarterback year.
8 quarterbacks, Jim? Is there a limit, or is there no definition of how many you could have?
We've had as many as 8. And the only blowback there is from the teams. They don't feel like they get to see our guys take enough reps when there's 8. So I don't know. But if 8 deserve it, and we think 8 are going to get drafted, we'll invite 8. If it's less than that, we'll go less. But yeah, that's the only pushback we get is these guys don't get enough throws in if we have 8.
Looking forward to Sam Hartman going to this small little school you may have heard of, Notre Dame. Jim, can't tell you how much we appreciate this. We always love it when we get your insight on things. Hopefully get a little downtime here. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me on. It was great.
Appreciate it. And also backing me up, Steph Curry, athletic.
He didn't even. His mind's in football.
Yeah, he's a scout through and through.
Okay.
Doesn't matter what
I just read this Bleacher Report thing saying so many words. Every draft profile, Steph Curry lacks the athleticism to play 2-guard in the NBA. Again and again. Turned out they're wrong. But can I tell you one?
Extremely wrong.
Real quick, I've been holding on to the scouting report all day. Okay. Just a little thing on Dalton Kincaid, your newest Buffalo Bill.
Okay.
This from Dane Brugler, who's arguably one of the top 3 or 4 draft writers out there.
Yeah, for the Athletic.
I love what Buffalo did on day 2, adding a plug-and-play guard and a toolsy linebacker, but I keep returning to the Kincaid pick as one of my favorite fits in the entire draft. Kincaid could be a starting slot receiver for Josh Allen, and to give the offense an extra dimension it has been searching for the last few seasons. I can easily make an argument Kincaid is the best pass catcher in this draft, regardless of position. I mean, come on. What is wrong here? This is amazing. You should celebrate.
Listen, as Jim said, the guy broke his back. I mean, that's not nothing when you're playing, in the NFL.
What football fan in the beginning of May is worried about injuries? You always ignore those. Ignore those until they actually happen.
All right. You convinced me. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Craziest moment from the draft. We'll get to that in just minutes. Also, got a Game 7 tonight. We get all the latest in this CBS Sports Update with Rich Ackerman.
Sports Flash.
Unlike the top seed in the East, the best in the West seemingly getting stronger. The Nuggets will host the Suns tonight in Game 2 after taking the opener. Jamal Murray was a force with 34, regaining his previous form. 2-time MVP Nikola Jokic said it's Murray that's been their best player.
He's playing amazing. I think he's definitely showing that what he's capable of, and he's our best player, and we are following him right now. He's bringing the energy, he's bringing the toughness, so everybody's following him.
The Suns will look for more from Kevin Durant, who was held at 29 on Saturday. Game 1 between the Sixers and Celtics tonight in Boston, with Joel Embiid doubtful with a sprained knee. One game in the Stanley Cup playoffs, the Devils host the Rangers in Game 7. The winner moves on to face the Carolina Hurricanes. Last night in the pair of deciding games, it was the road team that won each. The Calgary Flames fired head coach Darryl Sutter after missing the playoffs this year for the second time in 3 years. Baseball today, the Mets have a 1-0 lead over the Braves in the bottom of the 4th. Atlanta took the first game 9-8. I'm Rich Ackerman.
This is Jim Rome. We are talking to the biggest names in all of sports in the jungle weekdays from 12 to 3 Eastern on CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. You missed any part of the show? We got a podcast. Download, rate it, review it, subscribe it, all that stuff. Maggie and Perloff, wherever you get your podcasts. If you're in the chat, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Hit subscribe. We'd be so grateful. Let's get to our shot of the day.
He shoots!
Okay, today's shot of the day is brought to you by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos is brought to you by those who drink it. And what a weekend it was for Casamigos in my house. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is our shot of the day was a little bit of the Cliff Notes Perloff, a little highlight of me running the 40 in Kansas City. Jeffrey Howell in the chat says, got a little advice for me. Maggie, for your 40-yard dash at next year's draft, have someone attach a bag of gummies to a stick like they do at a dog track. See, that implies that I needed some kind of motivation. The motivation was to not embarrass myself, which I'm pretty sure I did.
I did not see you fall.
I had like a Fred Flintstone kind of wind up where I was like, yeah, like my feet were going, and then I took off, you know?
Yeah.
Like
You were
fast feet.
Next year, maybe, can we get you a coach or something? Somebody tell you how to get out of the blocks?
How about just like a pair of shorts? I think I
Some
could
sneakers, maybe?
Maybe a pair of sneakers. I got to plan a little better for this thing.
The upright running style, you have so much wind resistance coming at you when you run like that the whole time.
I told you, I'm taller than people think, so that's a whole 5'8".
Yeah.
I'm like a parachute out there. Sneakers, shorts, what a novel idea for next year.
Oh, man, that reminds me of, there was an early internet meme when Maurice Clarett ran the 40. He ran it so slow, there was a meme of a woman in a walker passing him at the end of the 40 line. It was totally unfair. But
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, I don't think you were that slow. Again,
I think with that time, I'm getting drafted in the 500th round.
I think it was a slow clock. I think you were at least 7.3.
Wait a minute.
No, what was it?
6.9.
6.3.
Sub 7.
What did our boss tweet at you?
That I am so slow, I'm a fire hazard.
Yeah, that was clever. And mean.
Yeah,
that's mean.
Thank you, Spike.
Do you like my response? I said, well, the good thing is if a bear attacks the studio, we can all outrun Maggie.
Yeah, I'll be the bear meat.
Yeah. That's the expression. You don't have to be faster than the bear, just be faster. But then again, by the way, if you ran a 6'9", you're way faster than me. I would run at about 8'4".
Also, everyone knows to escape a bear, you need lateral quickness. That's where my Steph Curry athleticism.
Agility.
That's where it would come in. Thank you, Carlos, for the agility. How about this one? Do you see this story that Tiger Woods and Justin Timberlake are building a town? They're building a city, like their own golf utopia or something. It's called the Wellington. And it's an equestrian town that's 600 acres, features single-family homes and a reimagined 18-hole golf course. Like, do you get to play with Tiger and with Justin Timberlake? Or are they just like the mayor? What? I don't understand, like a town created by these two.
Wait, did you say it was an equestrian town?
That's what they said. It's an equestrian town.
So there's horses and golf.
It's 600 acres. It's in the middle of Florida, Wellington, Florida. So it's a popular equestrian destination. They're enhancing the equestrian spirit, according to the, the pitch. I just don't understand. Is someone like, I know where I want to live.
Yeah.
Justin Timberlake's place. I guess.
Listen,
Tiger Woods' place.
I would definitely want to live. Tiger has a few golf courses, and they are deluxe from everything I understand. So to live on a golf course sounds amazing. I just don't know. If it's like this weird sort of sci-fi town that's run by Justin Timberlake and Tiger Woods?
Like, that's what I want to know. Are they like the mayor? Are they like running the town together? Do they determine, how much taxes you pay and stuff like that? Are there Perkins waitresses all around? Are they like also running the show? I don't know. I got questions. Don't you?
No, I think it sounds like a typical Justin Timberlake Tiger Woods golf development. But
guess what?
This is. I like that you're blowing this into some sort of weird like movie kind of thing that this could be.
Well, I wonder if they're going to be like drunk with power as they now have created a town. Guess how much the prices go for?
Like $2 million a condo?
$3 million. $3 million. Wow. Let's go quickly to Mark, who's in Wichita. Wants to weigh in on my 40 time. Hey, Mark, how are you?
Hey, good. Maggie, when you were talking about your speed or lack thereof, it reminded me of Eli Manning talking about when he scrambled once, he got flagged for delay of game.
Mark, it's so good. It applies. I was keeping a lot of little kids from running the 40, and I think they were getting annoyed with me because I took so long. It's like, Mom.
No, come on. But everyone else ran in groups. How come you ran alone? That might have been the problem.
They asked me if I wanted to run alone.
Why did you run with somebody to push you a little bit?
Well, because we're doing it for the video, so I didn't want some Joe Schmo also running with me.
Yeah, or like an 8-year-old beating you.
Dude, and that would have happened.
They were fast. Did you notice there are a lot of young speedsters in Kansas City?
Listen, I have no ego when it comes to this stuff because my athletic ego was put to rest permanently when I was in high school and I went to tennis camp and I was beaten on the tennis court by an 8-year-old.
How old?
I was in high school. I was beaten by an 8-year-old. He could barely swing the racket, but damn, that kid got every shot in. I could not beat that little kid. To be fair, he lived at the facility. He was like an academy kid who was like being groomed to be an all-time, all-world tennis player. But I lost to him.
But if he's 8, I mean, his serve could not have been that good at 8 years old.
Pinpoint precision. He was the C.J. Stroud out there. He just wasn't missing.
Wait, I don't
Steph
know.
Curry.
Could you just smash his serve right back in his face?
I tried. He got everything back. I'm telling you. This was the low point of my athletic career. So the 40 really can't hurt me.
Wow.
Yeah.
He probably would have smoked you on the 40, too.
He definitely would have. Thank you to Stu Kovacs, to Carlos Ortiz, Jim Nagy, who joined us, to everyone, the Weedos, the Purple Drinkers in the chat, you guys on the phones as well. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Be well.